Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Going to be going live to Times Square in a few seconds. The first player that was put up on Facebook, there was some technical difficulties. Sorry about that. Happy New Year's, everybody. And tonight we have two special guests. I know you've all been looking forward to this. So after the ball drops, we're going to be getting into surviving planetary change in 2018 with Scott Cohn, founder of Planet X News, and Dr. Claudia Albers, the physicist. Sorry, there's a little feedback there. I apologize. Hi, everybody. Everybody's like hunkered down. It's snowing. It's not snowing here yet. It's very cold. We've been breaking record temperatures. And we'll bring you live right now to Times Square. This is Fox. That show's 26 minutes. They're nutty. That's impossible. 26 minutes. It's 11. There it is. 16 minutes and 34 seconds. You need to update that, Fox.
I love that. And then personally, do you have a 2018 goal or wish?
Yeah,
11 degrees in Times Square. More like 9. Wind chill.
I hope that people are ready for us.
Well, Toronto, thank you so much for everything that you do, and have a very happy New Year.
Thank you.
Hello, any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, we got a few.
Resolution. I can't think of one. I'm blanking.
How's Times Square on New
Stop
Year's
being
Eve?
an asshole and a noob in 2018. Yeah. Stop following fake news in 2018. Yeah.
What are your names? Where are you from? Aaliyah from Baltimore.
Read my
Emily
cup.
from Baltimore.
It's my new
from
cup.
Baltimore.
Sam from Baltimore.
Yay, Baltimore! All right, I want to know the scoop. You guys are friends.
That's
How
my
do you know
new
each other?
saying
Let's
for
know the details.
2018. Shut the
Except for that
up.
one on the end. Okay, now you two are dating. So what's the story? Who asked who out? We met at school, and he wanted to date for a while, but I wasn't looking for anything. But now, you know, we've been dating for a year and a half now. So we're still
Aw,
dating.
isn't that
How
cute?
did he finally convince you? It took a lot of convincing, but.
I ended up, it was a Southwest flight, and I ended up sitting next to her on the Southwest flight.
Wait,
So,
really?
yeah. So, I mean, she was stuck with me for 2 hours, so, yeah.
So you were pursuing her, and then you were stuck on a flight, and then you convinced her on the flight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Basically how it
15
happened.
minutes of 2018. At least the other festivities around the world have gone off without a hitch, meaning no terrorist attacks. New World Order's being kind this New Year's Eve.
We like fun. All right, you like fun because you're the ringleader that brought everyone here. So tell me about that, getting them all to come here.
We were just basically like, this is on our bucket list. This is something we want to do. If we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. So that's what we did. Here we are.
How is it so far? To people watching at home that have no idea what it's like, can you describe it?
It's an amazing experience. It's been an incredible day.
Yeah, I'm just frozen. My feet are stuck to my,
My expectations were low, but they have been set. The bar has been set so high. It's been incredible, and it's only.
They're all penned in, too. You know that, Scott, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was watching this earlier on Fox News.
Oh, yeah. By the way, say hello, Doc. Say hello, Scott. New Year's.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
There we go. Woo! Let me just go stand out here.
Let's get some stories going.
I don't think the booze is helping, Scott.
I could use a few drinks.
Is that sign language right there?
Sort of.
Sort of. Do you know how to say Happy New Year in sign language?
Happy New Year.
Well, one more time.
Happy
Yep.
New Year.
That is awesome.
Yay.
That's right, everyone. We want you all to know it's Happy New Year. And what do you want for 2018?
A boring year for all of our officers.
That's really deep. Take that in. A boring year for the officers because they've been doing so much. That's awesome. And is there anyone you want to say Happy New Year's to back home?
My whole family,
As far as I know right now, they're at home watching TV. Hi, guys. You're smarter than me. I'm freezing.
But you are much more awesome than them because you're in Times Square, New York. So you win.
That is true.
You win. All
That
right.
is true.
Let's say Happy New Year on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year!
I feel like New Year's Eve's all about coming to Times Square, making new friends. This group of people, you guys have never met before, but now they claim to be a big group of best friends. What are your names?
Sure
and
they are.
Where are you from?
I'm Drew from Oregon.
I'm Allison from Oklahoma.
Julia's from Spain.
January from Colorado.
January?
Drew from Indiana.
Is that February?
Texas.
Okay, so you guys all kind of came at yourself and you gravitated towards each other. Why this group? What makes this group so special?
Oh, we were mostly the first people here. Came here around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the morning. And we just bonded together.
12
And
minutes.
then how is this different than how you'd spend New Year's Eve back home?
Back home, I usually just stay at home, have a friend over, and we eat black-eyed peas, but now I'm in the Big Apple in Times Square with new people.
Yeah. What about you? Because you're from Spain, so what is it like there?
So on normal, I take my 12 grapes and I celebrate with my family in a dinner, and then I go for a party with my friends. So that is what we do in Spain.
Yeah. Now, do you have a name for your new group of friends?
We are the Ball Drop Crew.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
what is it like for
You
people back
seem
home?
so festive.
What is the energy like here in Times Square?
It's really indescribable. I mean, just like all this energy, all these great people around you. It feels great. I mean, I feel very lucky to be here right now.
Yeah, and what's your favorite thing about this experience and this new group of friends, the Ball Drop Crew?
The fact that we're in New York, we get to see it live, and I'm excited for the confetti tonight.
All right, so to sign us off, I want to say to everyone back home, we're going to say Happy New Year from the Ball Drop Crew. You guys ready? I can't wait. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Happy New Year!
Ball Drop Crew!
That just doesn't even sound right. The Ball Drop Crew. Doesn't even sound right.
Yikes. AKA the Nut Drop.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Did I just say that? There's an ad coming on.
I've been practicing dentistry since 1990, and I have been in Port Richmond since that time. I think we started in May of 1990, so I've been here almost 22 years.
Goodbye, Ed. Have a nice day. There we go. Alexander says he's going to have his first cigar in his mouth. Oh, in a month. The Ball Drop Crew. Nut jobs.
Ball Drop Crew.
That's a great name. The Ball Drop Crew. How's your sack hanging? How's your sack hanging on New Year's? We went to Times Square and we named ourselves the Ball Drop Crew.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
And then told billions of people live on Fox. Billions of people. We're the Ball Drop Crew. It's a madhouse down there. You know how many times I've gone down there? Oh my God! When I was younger, forget about it. It's a nut. It's just a nightmare. I know it looks like all these people up here. The ones closest up in there, they have the most fun. But the rest, they're all penned in now. You see them all? You see how they're all in these areas? If you notice the fences, they're not allowed out of there. So
I wouldn't like that at all.
So when you get there at, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're this close up, and you get to be in this penned area or that penned area, you can't get out of that penned area. So, and they'll put, like, portable lavatories or whatever restaurants are open or whatever. You're stuck, like, right there on that side. You can't go out of there. It never was like that, but since, terrorist attacks, since 9/11 and stuff, they changed it. Barry White playing. Oh, yeah. 8 minutes and counting. Genevieve is asking, what if you got to take a dump? Well, you know, that's the way it goes. You can't get out of the pinned-in areas. They got snipers on the roof out there and everything. All over the place.
I got this fresh light. Never seen you before like this. I got the before. It's like the first time when you open the door for me. Got used to you.
There's porta labs down there and stuff, but you can't. Or if you're by a restaurant and stuff, if they have it open, you can use that. But they put a lot of porta labs, like right. It's hard to see with the people there, but they're there. But you're stuck in there now. 2 years ago, they changed it that you're not allowed out of your spot, like your penned-in area. I wouldn't do a large crowded event after Las Vegas shooting ever again. Not happening. I don't know how that could say 7 minutes when the freaking my computer clock says something totally different. 6 minutes. My thing says 11:54.
Yep, so does mine.
Yep, 11:54.
Wow. That's weird.
What's their time say?
Mine says 11:54. Theirs says 6 minutes to the ball drop.
That's about right. 11:54, 6 minutes to the...
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, what am I thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking. It's been a long 2017. That's all I got to say.
Oh, right.
Woohoo! 2018. Let's do this. Haters be gone. Pow. Poof. They're done. They got served their lawsuit and their injunction. Pow. Next. Next, they'll be paying my legal bills. Uh-oh. We're spinning. Uh-oh. There we go. Don't do it.
Oh, it's doing it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. See, other people are saying 4:22. This thing says 4:54. Whatever. There really is no such thing as time anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a time warp as it is. We're in the freaking Matrix.
That's insane anyway. I mean, everybody's like, oh, it's 1 second to the new year, you know? And then everybody's doing that new year, new me bullshit. That lasts about 3 days. Gym membership's about a week. And then that's it. We're done. It's all good. Next. Uh-oh. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, come on.
It's easy if you try. No help, Lord. Above us, only sky. Yeah. Imagine all
it's a great song. John Lennon, right?
Yep.
He's another one that got a horrible death.
It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for.
This guy's slaughtering this song.
Yeah, if this thing would stop, come on, don't do it. There's so many comments on this feed, not from us, from them. I don't even know how their servers are even keeping up with it. Come on, not before midnight. I will flip the fuck out. I will flip the fuck out. Up.
Imagine all the people.
OMG. Every night I do shows and it's not that I don't have a fucking problem. He's destroying his song, Scott. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Even they're slowing him down.
Who is this guy, anyways?
I don't know. $5 like to the first per 1 minute to New Year. Come on. You for real? I can't. It's got to be internet traffic.
Oh, guaranteed New Year's Eve.
We're only like, says 2 minutes and something. They say, everybody on here says 1 minute. It says 2. Come on.
I'm a dreamer.
30 seconds.
I don't know. All these live sites I'm on are showing 1 minute and 38.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
15.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year's, New York. I love you all.
This is Fox.
5, 4, 3.
Just hang on. Let's do it when they do it on here.
I feel fantastic. You look just tuning in.
Happy New Year. Let it drop on here. There's a time delay, but let it drop on
We
here.
are counting down the seconds until
See?
2018.
And there you have the mayor, Bill de Blasio, out there on stage. Here we go. A minute till
See?
2018.
Here it goes.
Brand new year. The calendar is about to flip, Jesse Waters.
That's right. 2017
Oh, yeah.
was pretty good. What do you think? 2018 even better,
I
Kennedy.
think 2018 is going to be legendary. You're going to see a big election year. Maybe Hillary Clinton's going to run for president again. She'll decide.
Oh,
this year
shut
to be
up.
A gift to everyone.
Let's
not
oh,
jinx it.
my God.
All right, about 30 seconds left, people. Here we go.
All right, get your New Year's traditions ready. What do you do at this
28,
night?
26,
You have about 25 seconds left.
25.
So grab a sailor.
Grab a sailor,
21.
grab a warm body, grab
20.
a bottle, grab whatever's close by.
Buckle up, open your heart.
Seconds
14.
now. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, boom! Happy New Year! Yeah!
Happy New Year, Dr. Albers. Wake up.
Happy
Thank
New Year,
you.
Dawn!
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Doc! Happy New Year, everybody! There we go. Oh, yeah.
Old Sinatra.
There we go. Oh, yeah. The best. Start spreading the news. I can't fucking sing. Oh, yeah. Be a part of it. New York, New York.
These vagabond shoes are longing to stray
Oh, yeah.
right through the
Very hard of it. New York, New York. Wake up
in a city
that never sleeps. Here comes the confetti. Yeah. That's real music right there.
New start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to
You know, I was just thinking they should have had Donald Trump host this New Year's Eve in Times Square.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a security nightmare on top of this one.
In a city that never sleeps. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder how many of them people are going to remember it. She was adorable. That's not a place I'm bringing my kid for New Year's as a child, as a baby. You, New York, New York. I like his hat. Ow! Boom! Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Doc, this is your first New Year in the United States, right?
That's right, it is.
Ah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your first New Year here.
Yes.
So what do you think of Times Square?
Well, it looks interesting. I don't think I would like to be there. It looks like it's very cold.
Yes, it is. How are you liking Pennsylvania and the cold and snow there?
Yes, it's also a surprise to me. I've never seen weather like this. I've never even seen snow. I mean, I saw snow, a little bit of snow in the 1980s in South Africa once. So.
Wow, that's because there's no snow there, right, at all?
There's no snow there. So this is all new to me.
But tell him, Doctor, you also never shoveled it like you did.
Yes, I had to shovel some snow yesterday, and I was so cold. I just...
Really?
Yes. I'm not used to this cold. I've never felt it in my life before.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's different when you're not used to it, for sure.
She asked me, she said, well, why do I have to shovel the snow? And I told her, listen, you came here to the United States to start a new life, a new beginning. I want you to experience everything. So get the shovel.
Get the shovel. It's funny.
Yeah. Luckily it wasn't that real heavy snow that we're used to. It was like that sawdust, real light, dry snow. So it wasn't too bad.
All right, Doc, what do you think? What are your predictions for 2018 for the planet? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
2017 was not that good. We've had so many earthquakes, volcanic activity. I would think that I don't think things are going to get any better. Let's put it that way. So I would say we would get at least more of the same.
Okay.
Probably it will get worse. I think, I think our sun is in trouble. They have a whole sun simulator system in place already, though. But, you know, the planet is actually heating up from the bottom. That's why we're getting so much volcanic activity. So the fact that the objects in the solar system are affecting the inside of the Earth. They're heating up the mantle, the outer core. So
very well.
You know, these weather disturbances that we are getting, I don't think it's because our planet is cooling down. Our planet is heating up from the inside. And that's why we have increased volcanic activity and the oceans are heating up. But the sun, on the other hand, seems to be getting weaker. And I've just written an article about that. And it shows that it's been weakening for quite some years already.
So I was talking to Scott earlier before we came on, and there's a famous, she's a seer, and she's dead now. She died at 85, but a lot of her she's like a Nostradamus, you know, where she was blind, cleric, and I was going through her stuff. So happened it popped up in YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And I was telling Scott in there, she talks about a sun simulator, believe it or not, in her predictions and this was like from 50 years ago.
Yes.
And she talked about how we would need a sun simulator, and that how in the year of 2030 something that the sun simulator would fail, and half of Earth would be dark. And we'd have to go and figure out how to create a sun, you know, to work our sun simulator. And it was kind of like, threw me back. So I had to check it again. And she really did say this. She talked about a sun simulator before we ever, did it. And I'll go into, I forgot her name, but I will get it before the show's out. And she's into these predictions here. Actually, I can do it on here. Hang on.
Well, that sounds right. In fact, I think the Bible also talks about something which must be a sun simulator. I think in Revelation 8 verse 12, it talks how the sun was struck so that a third of it did not shine.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So how can a third of the sun affect the fact that we don't get a third of the day or anything like that? The only way that could happen is if a third of the simulator system is affected. And if the sun has burnt out and it's not shining, what else happens is the planets don't shine, the moon doesn't shine. So they would have to have simulators for all of these, the planets and the moon. So if a third of the system goes down, that's what will happen. A third of the sun will not shine.
And you know what? I think that some of these, in 2017, a lot of these pictures that were shown even that I took of the moon and others, where it looked like something was being projected onto the surface.
Yes.
It's almost as if something has altered this, or that they have had to use some type of hologram to light them up, or bright, you know what I'm saying, to light up the real moon and other areas as well. It's almost like they're using the simulator now to hide the sun, and possibly it's eclipsing with the other planets around it and things, but also testing it for when we really need it. You know what I'm saying? Like a trial run of
that's right,
for what it really would be. You know what I mean? Used for. So I know with a lot of your writings and things, what do you think with your recent post, which I'm going to get into on this site? What do you think is actually causing these serious problems with the sun?
Well, I believe that the solar system has been invaded by a system of old stars. These are old burnt out stars that have aged beyond the point where they can emit visible light. So they're basically emitting infrared light. They've been through the gas giant, the red giant phase, the white dwarf phase. And you know, when when stars go through the red giant phase, they already destroy the inner planet. So these are not normal stars. These are stars that have gone in what I call the stellar core phase. So they basically have lost their outer layers. They are only the core of what was once a main sequence star, like the sun is at the moment. And they have a thin layer of ionizing material around them. They cannot emit light or visible light. They come to the sun because they are attracted to it, and they start draining the sun. And in the meantime, they get plasma from the sun. They start being able to emit some visible light, not nearly as strong as the sun or as bright as the sun, but they seem to be able to start emitting light. But they keep draining the sun, and I think that's why our sun has become so much weaker. And that's what's
I agree with
problem.
that. Yeah, and you guys had just done a video.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get out of the one that's here. Sorry. It's funny when you go to YouTube with Planet X. There's so many other wannabe people. It's the one that you did. It's Planet X News photos of the Planet X surface.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to go to that one right now. Give me a sec. You're able to see my screen too, right?
Yeah, I have mine split.
You have yours split? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X.
So you're going to hear Scott's voice at the same time, so don't get confused.
2017. This is Scott from Planet X News, and I am joined this evening with Dr. Claudia Albers. Dr. Albers, how are you this evening?
I'm very well, thank you, Scott. And how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope each and every one of you had a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday.
Thank you, Scott.
As many of you know, I constantly monitor the Solar Dynamics Observatory, what we refer to as the SDO. And I monitor it every single day, and usually several times a day. We've captured our Planet X object many, many times from this spacecraft. And today, as I was going over some of the 48-hour loop, the 48-hour footage that they give us, I discovered once again this massive object. And this time, it wasn't alone. We now have...
That's what I was at. This is the show where you show the two objects next to the planet, right?
That, yeah.
I mean, next to the sun, the planet.
Yeah.
The sun. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we're on the right.
Planet X is not alone in this mysterious orbit around our sun. Also creating situations with our sun, such as the coronal mass ejections, the massive coronal holes, large filaments.
While we go through this, I'm going to ask some questions. Doctor or Scott, both of you, can you guys both explain for our listeners, and then for the public as well, but what a coronal mass ejection is, as opposed to like a sunspot, what a coronal mass ejection is? Because I know a lot of people get confused between, you know what I mean, what they're seeing and what they're hearing. So I wanted to ask that.
Okay, so what happens when there's actually an explosion of plasma that comes off the sun, and that's usually because of what happens with the magnetic and electric field on the sun. There's usually what's called a magnetic reconnection and very high electric fields at the same time. So it usually occurs in a region of the sun that is energetic already. There's a high magnetic field there. And then what happens is when this reconnection occurs, a bit of the coronal plasma disconnects from the rest of the corona and is ejected out into space. And then if it moves in the direction of the Earth in after
at the time of the ejection, if the Earth is, by the time it gets into that rotation, it would like hit the Earth. In other words.
That's right. Eventually, it does take 2 or 3 days to get to the Earth, but it causes an impact onto the Earth's magnetosphere, and that usually leads to geomagnetic storms. So you get auroras, it affects communication, and it ionizes the ionosphere, so you then get currents in the ionosphere. And I usually explain how these then lead to earthquakes because it induces currents inside the Earth, and that leads to earthquakes and volcanic activity.
Got it. There's been some huge volcanic activity the past couple of weeks with the one in Russia, 50,000 feet eruption. Did you see that? It was 50.
You're gonna start to see again more and more volcanic activity. You're going to start to see volcanoes that have been dormant for 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years, 200 years. There's a lot of rumor and speculation brewing right now that there are a lot of volcanic there's a lot of volcanic activity going off right now off of the northern coast of California, between California, Oregon, and the state of Washington. The USGS does have seismic devices throughout that whole entire region, as well as NOAA also has tsunami devices, the buoys out there.
Sure.
So they're able to detect any type of movement that would be associated with, a volcanic release underwater. It's going to create vibrations. These devices are going to pick up the information and therefore report it. But they have them all shut down. You're not getting any of that information.
So they have stopped over the past month or so, or a couple past 2 months.
There's myself and some very other credible people that think that they've had it shut down for quite a while.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What I want to do is this video here. I see that it's an hour and change. You go into. I want to start to go. Where you're talking,
go towards the pictures.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm getting to that one right now. So I'm going to pull that up right now. Okay. And I'm not going to run your voice because I'm just going to go through. I'd rather go through them with you guys for us to do that here. Let me even get a better. I don't know why.
I wanted to add something real quick about these volcanoes.
Mm-hmm.
And
talk freely. Go. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, a lot of people think, oh God, these volcanoes. It's almost a godsend for some of these volcanoes because there's a firm belief that they are releasing a lot of the internal pressure that could probably lead to much bigger catastrophic earthquakes.
That makes makes good sense.
Yeah, I mean it's something that definitely occurs, but it's going to come to the point where the combination of the earthquake activity and the volcanic activity has the potential to turn into a 1-2 punch.
Sure.
And that's what's so alarming. And I know there's a lot of people out there that really don't truly understand the dynamics of what is happening out there by the sun. Everything that has to do with the sun affects our planet. It could affect it in a good way, but everything that we're seeing is in a bad way.
Sure.
In a very concerning bad way. There has been a lot of talk lately over a solar flash.
What's that, Scott?
Now, again, see, a solar flash is something that no human being on the face of this planet has ever seen or experienced. So a solar flash would be something like a coronal mass ejection, but on a scale that is, on a scale from 1 to 10, you're looking at like a 12.
Okay.
So it would be something that would absolutely devastate the human population on this planet. Plants, animals, the whole 9 yards. This planet would never be the same.
I don't think this planet's ever going to be the same again anyway.
No, we're moving into another period in this matrix that is, it's very concerning. But as I said the other day, it's pretty intriguing.
Oh, I think it's incredible to be alive right now, for sure.
Yeah.
To see all these changes and things. And what I'm going to do is, this way I can ask, I want to bring this video back. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And I want to play this video from Skywatch, because he put all this together. And a lot of our members and us, like we were talking earlier, talking about the cold weather, Doc. This very bad cold front. And as I said, and I know you have said, Scott, in your past videos too, that we predicted that this winter was going to be horrible. Very cold. We've already broken records with snow and things. So I want to play this, and I want to get both of your take on what he's showing here, because you've used this stuff before. I've seen it, and I want to then go back to show your video with what's going on at the sun, and how it would affect what is going on right now. And I'm sure Claudia can hear what he's going to say. So
yes, I can hear.
Okay, good.
This is Skywatch Media News for the last week of the year, 2017.
Scott, our friend Mr. BB,
as we approach the end,
not to cut him off, but Mr. BB 333, he just put up a video of something that I'm going to show with this as soon as he's done too. You'll find it interesting.
That's space launch.
No, this is something he just put up. It has to do with something else. I'll get into that in a minute.
Another year. Let's recap what we know about Planet X, what it means for us here on Earth.
And Doc, if you hear something that's not correct,
play a role in the end times process.
I'd like you to chime in, and then I'll stop the video.
Some of you are familiar with this information, but for those who are visiting this channel for the first time, or who are inspired to further learn about Nibiru and its passage through our solar system,
because he goes into the cold front and things like that.
Be very helpful.
Yeah, you see, you already mentioned something that's not right. He says, it talks about Nibiru and its passage through our solar system. And that they get from ancient history. Okay. And it's not actually correct. These objects have come in, and they are staying with the sun. They are attracted to the sun. They have become a part of the solar system.
Okay.
And they are not leaving. So it's not a passage through the solar system. That have come and they've become a part of the sun, and they are burning out the sun. And that's the problem.
So the system is here, and as I have been saying, my thought is that it's here, and the Nibiru system is here, and it is latched on basically with our sun, like you've said, is draining it as well. But we don't know if it's going to leave or stay. Correct?
Yeah, as far as I know, they are locked into the sun. They are attracted to the sun to such an extent that they've locked in. They've become a part of the solar system. So now we're not a single star system anymore. We're a multiple star system. And the whole system, the nucleus of the solar system now is made up of the sun in the system of stellar cores. And this is not about to change as far as I can see because of this deep attraction that they have for the sun. And already we can see that this has changed because from the Earth we can actually see the sun move now. And the only way this is possible is if the planets in the solar system are no longer just attached to the sun. Because if planet Earth is attached to the sun moves, the Earth will do the same movement. And we'll never see the sun move. It's only when we are attached to the whole group that then we begin to be able to see the sun itself moving. And that's what's happening.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Because we're trapped into the magnetic pull. Not This has nothing to do with gravity, right, Doc?
Nothing. That's what I've discovered is that the interaction is magnetic. These objects interact with the sun through a magnetic field, not at all through the gravitational field as we've been taught the gravitational field is. It actually led me to the conclusion that the gravitational field is electrical in nature. And it works in a totally different way to what we've been taught. And mass itself, which is supposed to be what leads to the gravitational interaction, is a totally different effect. It's actually electromagnetic as well.
Makes sense. It's as if this, our sun, the earth, the moon, everything is working off a big generator, so to speak, a power source, a radioactive power source. And this is working as electrical current works, basically, instead of that of what we were taught as with gravity.
That's right.
And I don't think planets can work with gravity the way they taught us. I don't think it can work in physics type.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work at all. It may look like it's working because if we started out living in a system that was in equilibrium, that is, all the planets and the sun were part of one whole system. And I believe planets actually are formed inside stars now, and they are ejected from the stars. So the planets themselves were part of the sun initially. So the whole system together may look like the gravitational force is a constant force that is acting. But the moment these objects invade from the outside, you start to see that the gravitational force does not work anymore in that way. So we start to see a totally different interaction. We see that it's magnetic. We can see these objects approach the sun, and if the interaction was gravitational, they would go into a very fast rotation, or the sun would start rotating about them, or they would collide. We don't see that. They don't actually seem to collide at all. They stay at a small distance from each other. And sometimes we see these objects accelerate away from the sun with CMEs. And the only way they can do that if it's an electromagnetic interaction.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to play this, and because some people, and then we're going to go into where we can show how these planets from your pictures are attached to the sun now, because some of our members are getting a little confused, and that's why I want to, what they're thinking and what some of the comments are. So they're asking, is did the Nemesis system pick up these dead stars along its way in its last rotation before it came back, or is this something that you think is already been a part of that system?
Yes, you see, the Nemesis system is part of what we've been learned from ancient history, and the observations that I am using is of these actual objects as they are here, and I don't think they've been here for longer than 100 years, perhaps just over 100 years. I don't actually know what happened whenever. It's possible that the sun has a binary twin.
Sure.
But we don't have enough data to be able to tell for sure.
Okay. And then with what Dr. Albers said, once we play through this video, because it covers a bunch of stuff here as well as the current weather, very cold and what to come, then I will show you the photos of what Scott and the doctor found of the sun with the two masses attached, like pretty much right to its corona. I mean,
okay. That's right. They are in the sun's corona.
Yeah, and I know that they're there, and I can tell you because I have gotten video myself, and we've talked about this before, showing our sun dimming on off, and it's eclipsing. It's as if these objects are like. Now, the ones you're talking about, and I don't want to confuse anybody yet until we show the pictures, they're like stuck there. They're like sort of stuck getting fueled up from the sun, basically.
That's right.
Okay.
A great resurgence of the Nibiru theory emerged following the publication of new scientific studies claiming evidence of an unnamed planet lurking beyond Pluto. The scientific information was based on observations of gravitational influences on a group of heavenly bodies.
See how they say gravitational
extreme
influences?
trans-Neptunian objects. which were orbiting the sun beyond the planet Neptune. The information confirms the belief that something large is perturbing the orbits of other solar system planets, and that NASA is aware of this.
NASA's been
As the
aware
mysterious
of this
planet
since probably
Nibiru
the
approaches-
1960s.
Yeah, I agree. Scott, what is the name of the famous, what's the name of the famous Central American, South American?
Carlos Munoz.
Thank you.
Verano.
Carlos Munoz, yes. He's the one that really found this, if I'm not mistaken, besides, mathematically, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
The Earth from the far reaches.
These researchers have gone into their own mathematics, their own research, maybe some observations, and a lot of them have thrown in and researched biblical text.
Sure.
So that's where a lot of people are coming up with a lot of the misconceptions with the theory and mystery of the planet Nibiru, the calling this object Nemesis. These words have been out there for a long time, 35 years.
Sure.
Maybe even longer than that. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have confirmation that what we're observing has the brand name Nemesis on it.
Right.
Because no one's ever seen it. Same thing with the naming these objects Nibiru or Nemesis. We just really can't do that on our end because we know that there's no way to confirm that. All we know now is that some of this ancient theory and past historical text and these observations by, Harrington, Ferrata, writings of Sitchin and others are now leading to...
There's definitely another solar system around our sun, a binary system. I
There's
fully
most
believe
definitely
that.
some type of a star system within our solar system. And that's not something that is new either.
Right.
Scientists just don't want to come out and admit it because it's professional suicide for them at this point.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. I think he's just like going through what is said out there. He's not he's not saying that this. He's just going over what, because I know him and he never says this is definite or this or that. You know what I'm saying?
He gives good reports. I watch him all the time.
Yeah.
The solar system, it transmits waves of charged plasma energy particles.
Up, Doc. There's we are.
Yes, that's true.
The incoming flow of energy then disrupts.
I want to go back to that quick. That picture right there. It says what he's showing is this picture of the sun, and it's doing a plasma discharge towards the Earth, the magnetosphere. And he says when a plasma discharge strikes the Earth, it reverses the polarity of the magnetic poles. Is that correct?
Well, not every time. There is a polarity change depending on the strength of the magnetic field as it impacts the Earth.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we have a magnetosphere that flows through the core of our Earth. In directions. Okay.
The Earth generates its own magnetic field, which protects us from the solar wind.
Boom.
And if we didn't have a magnetic field, we'd lose our atmosphere.
And we die. We would die from radiation and
a plasma discharge that would actually make it to Earth point to point would incinerate whatever part of the Earth was facing it.
So let's be straight here. If we didn't have a magnetic sphere, right, to protect us, so let's just say that what even as NASA's come out and said, we have a shield protecting the Earth. Basically, that's what it is. The magnetosphere is a shield, like back in Star Trek and all that other great stuff, wrapped around Earth to protect us from not just the sun, but space itself, correct?
That's right.
What I find interesting about that, Doc, is that, and it's been said by NASA recently that they believe it. They're saying it's man-made, this magnetosphere, and I think that's possible because they're even talking. NASA's talking about creating a magnetosphere around Mars. There was a recent article about it from NASA. I find that interesting. That's like firing up a generator. You know what I'm saying? And releasing this to create this energy to create this magnetosphere? It's got to come from somewhere at the core of our Earth to create this magnetosphere, right?
Yeah, there are some theories out there that it's actually not produced the way we believe it's being produced. At the moment, it's believed to be due to the liquid outer core of the Earth.
Okay.
And that's creating currents, which then leading to a magnetic field.
So is that like the center of the Earth, like a big iron ball spinning around inside of there, or is it?
Yeah, that's right. And but there are other people that believe that it's actually powered by a fission reactor.
A fusion reactor.
Fission.
Oh, fission.
So.
What is that, Doctor? What is a fission reactor?
Fission is what happens inside a nuclear reactor. It's the splitting of
the atom
nucleus into two less heavy nuclei.
So let me ask you something. Is that basically what CERN is?
No, CERN is a particle accelerator. So what they do is they accelerate particles and then collide them. And when they collide them, it splits the particles apart so that they split into constituent particles so they can look to see what made up these particles.
Got it. Okay.
Solar system. The incoming flow of energy then disrupts the flow of the Earth's core and triggers major changes in the world's climate. If you're an astute interpreter of biblical scripture, then you know that prophecy describes a terrifying presence that will come upon the earth, notably absent a precise time frame for what that presence may actually be and when it will arrive. There is something strikingly similar between what Scripture describes will take place during the time of tribulation and what the scientific community is reporting today. Mm-hmm. The numbers of seismic and volcanic events, strange weather patterns, and natural disasters have steadily increased as records indicate and as Scripture forewarned would come to pass. Mm-hmm. A number of government and religious institutions are well aware of these prolific changes that are happening around the world today, including NASA, the Pentagon, the CIA, and the Vatican. Their sole mission has but one purpose: to keep the public in the dark about what is approaching.
That's true.
A comprehensive report submitted to the White House describes the devastating effects created by the passage of a large rogue planet, one that fits perfectly the description of Nibiru, the planet of the crossing.
Yeah, except for that.
According to a research study titled Extreme Trans-Neptunian Objects and the Kozai Mechanism, which signals the presence of trans-Plutonian planets, which was published in June of 2014 in the journal Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, there are at least 2 planets that are part of the solar system, larger than Earth, lurking out there beyond Pluto, and whose binary presence can be detected through their gravitational influences.
Yeah, this
in the early
all the time. They've been doing this since Harrington's time. They put out this information about planets at the outer edge of the solar system because they always try to focus the attention to the outer edges rather than to the sun where the objects are.
Okay. We'll get into that because I have a very big question about that, and I'm going to write it down right now so I don't forget, because it's a key question and I get it asked a lot, and I'm even curious as to your both of your answers to the question I have, but I'm not going to ask it yet because I want to show the pictures that you guys have, and I just want to make it strong. Okay.
In the 1990s, NASA presumably abandoned the search for Planet X by asserting the proclamation that the Voyager 2 space probe indicated that the mysterious planet did not exist, because measurements taken by the probe indicated that the irregularities in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune were due to overestimation of the mass of Neptune, which theorists now believe to be a deliberate cover-up by the space agency. Scientific research suggests that something is present in or near our solar system, is likely 10 times as massive as Earth, and is about 250 astronomical units, the distance from the Earth to the Sun, which would place it just about 23 billion miles from Earth. Those were the estimates that were conducted quite some time ago, which means that the object would have traveled a considerable distance over time, which could then explain why we are now feeling the effects of its presence today as it draws closer to us. According to Zecharia Sitchin, who for decades investigated and studied the Nibiru theory before his death in 2010, had said that ancient Babylonian cosmology indicated that the planet Nibiru, or Marduk, as it was called, struck a planet called Tiamat, smashing half of the planet into pieces, which then became what is known as the asteroid belt. The second...
Okay, Doc, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could our asteroid belt come from a smashed planet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It could have happened. Yes.
Okay. So my next question now is, can one planet run into the other planet?
It's unlikely. Let's put it that way. It could have been a comet.
Okay.
But if it's a planet, the planets repel each other, like two electrons repelling each other.
Mm-hmm.
But a comet, or that comes from outside the solar system, seems to have a different kind of interaction. And comets can collide with planets. So it's also possible that they didn't actually collide, that they just came
close
so
to one another
together, and then the electrical interaction broke the planet apart.
Makes sense. Okay.
So it could have been, say, a stellar core like we have now, or a star that came in and disrupted this planet. Possibly there would be huge electrical interactions, lightning-like bolts going across space from one to the other. And it's possible that the interaction can get so strong that the planet breaks apart into pieces. And that may be what happened in this case.
And as large as the asteroid belt really is, trying to say that one planet called Tiamat, exploded or was impacted by another object and created that massive, you can't even think or fathom the size of the asteroid belt and the size of the objects that are out there. They're
sure,
massive.
Yeah, the asteroid belt is pretty big.
Exactly. So,
it's pretty big.
I mean, in theory, some of that is possible. Like Dr. Albers said, I don't think it would be two planets. It just doesn't. They'll repel each other before they collide. So again, some of the Tiamat information is it's all theoretical. Some of it is possible.
I do believe, though, that I will say this. I do believe, and with the Sumerian tablets show that there was another planet named Tiamat, and that it probably did explode. To get some of these asteroids or to create that area, and it could have. I mean, once a planet explodes, and then you create this sort of like asteroid belt of its rubbish. I mean, of its rubble. Doc, wouldn't it also start to pick up other stuff as it tries to pass through it if it's not big enough?
Yeah, the thing is, it's very strange to have an asteroid belt in the midst of a planetary system. Like I said,
that was going to be my next question. Is that normal?
It's not normal, because I believe that planets are actually ejected from stars, but they ejected whole. But even in the current believed theory of planetary formation, all the dust around the star would turn into planets. How could you then have some of that dust staying as not a planet? That doesn't make sense, even in terms of the accepted theory, which I don't believe is actually what happens, because I believe that the universe is electrical, and the accepted theory is based on the gravitational interaction and gravitational collapse. And I don't believe that's what happens. I believe that planets are ejected from stars, just like galaxies are ejected out of other galaxies. So there's mass creation throughout the universe. Galaxies create other galaxies. So stars can eject planets. Stars can split into two stars. That's why we have so many binary systems.
So in other words, if there's enough ingredients, okay, you could get an Earth, right? If you had the right ingredients, you could split.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. And if it's the right ingredients of other minerals and whatever, you could end up with a Mars, or you could end up with a Venus, depending upon.
Exactly. Like, for instance, the sun's just not going to spit out a Venus and bingo, there it is, completely formed with all of its gases and da-da-da-da-da. If I just recently posted yesterday or the day before, I posted one of the first computerized 3D images of the Earth without water.
Wow, I got to look at that.
Okay, and it's rotates. It's in complete motion. The video clip, and it's in like your thermal type display in the video.
All right, we'll look.
And the Earth looks like a rock.
Sure.
It's not round at all.
I think within the next 10 years we're going to learn the truth about the moon, because I don't think the moon is what everybody thinks it is in this case.
I don't think it is either.
I really, really don't, and that has to do with what they say is on the surface of the moon. And if you look at those materials that they have found there, that's materials that would come from the inside of a planet, like the moon has been cored out, or it's been mined, or it's been
planet was then struck by one of Marduk's moons, which pushed it into a new orbit, which became the planet Earth. This great event was said to have happened some 4.5 billion years ago. Sitchin believed that this theory explains how the Earth's continents were divided, and would also explain why the Earth is layered in sediments. There is evidence of this great cataclysm in our solar system today. The stars, as they approach the Earth's atmosphere, can actually cause significant changes in magnetic activity. The appearance of a brown dwarf star with an orbital cycle of 3,600 years is clearly discussed in ancient Sumerian cylinder seals and in documents. If you study scriptural text and investigate the inscriptions and ancient artifacts that describe in great detail the approach of a celestial presence, then you must conclude that NASA and similar government agencies are being less than forthcoming on its existence. Not that long ago, there was an area in space that was censored by NASA. An area of great interest that apparently was hidden from public view for reasons that only NASA can explain, but have yet to acknowledge. It would seem from everything that is happening today that the Earth is heading for a great event that is literally out of this world, something inconceivable to present-day humanity. There are memories of this day in our subconscious, of past events, and in the records of ancient peoples. They all imply the same thing. What is coming is the cause of many eras from our past. The lost civilization of Atlantis and Lemuria, among others, and the stories of universal floods. If this were not something of great importance, then why would NASA reproach its location in the sky?
Hey, Scott. We can both confirm that Google Sky did block out that area. I mean,
oh yeah, they block out a lot of stuff on Google Sky. There is a way to get past that, and it's pretty easy. And it's actually using their own website. and you can see what's behind the black squares.
Okay.
Ancient archives are indicating that Nibiru's orbital journey is one that will last 3,600 years. An extraordinary time in the Earth's history that would be considered in theological terms as happening in the blink of an eye. As you can imagine, a sizable planet moving close to the inner solar system would spell big trouble for the world. You then must ask yourself, why is Earth behaving so strangely these days? The fury of unrest is unlike anything we have witnessed in our time. Furthermore, the blending of our seasons would indicate that the Earth is slowing down.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Doc, do you believe that and Scott, do you both believe that the Earth's rotation is slowing down, or has slowed down?
It's definitely a possibility. I think, there is evidence that it slowed down in 2011 when there was the Japanese, but that was just a few milliseconds. I think possibly it has slowed down quite a bit more than that. In fact,
what would cause
say that the Earth is not even in the orbit it used to be in.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we had a long discussion about that the other day. I mean, we were actually both thinking about it, but really didn't even mention it to each other. I'd been thinking about it. She had been thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And then we just burst into this.
I think that's why we're seeing the moon. I think that's why we're seeing the moon sort of being fake sometimes.
Well, there's also the huge possibility that, in 2016, we had, I think, 6 or 7 supermoons.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Maybe even more than that. Maybe it was 9. I don't know. I know there was a lot of them in 2016. I covered every one of them. This year, 2017, we saw a lot of supermoons. And we saw photographs, like, for instance, the beautiful photograph that was taken over Egypt.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Okay.
Sure.
That didn't even look real.
Right.
The one that was taken in 2016 over New York City.
Oh, that was freaky.
Like it was made in a studio.
Yep.
So that's telling me that either the moon got closer to us or we went a little further out. Now, I'm not talking, like our Earth orbit moving further away from the sun. But me and Dr. Albers were theorizing that we're not on this flat plane around the sun anymore. We may just be slightly below our flat plane orbit, or we may be going out just a little bit and coming in close, sort of like the orbit of Mercury.
Okay.
Because if you just take a look at what's happening with the Earth and these weather systems, and I was waiting for winter time to get here. I was actually waiting for this time of year to happen so I can see how fast the North Pole refroze and spread.
I got you.
And it did just that. And that's what you're seeing right now with this massive polar vortex.
Yeah, we're going to get...
There is a high pressure system on the West Coast in the North Pacific, just inside of Western Canada, that is driving this polar vortex like a machine.
Huh.
And for meteorologists, now they understand the dynamics of what's happening, but they've never seen this before.
Right. I agree. And I'm telling you, this winter is going to be hot. We're already breaking records all over the place.
Yeah, you're going to see some changes revert back to what we went through last year. You're going to start to see some warm ups of temperatures, probably pretty close to the third 3.5 weeks into January. You'll start to see some changes on this third of the United States, but The people that live in the north central part of the United States, along that Canadian border, they're screwed all the way till, probably April. And there are temperatures right now in the Midwest.
Yeah, we're going to show those in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy duty. Minus 32 degrees wind chill.
Yeah, minus 50 in some places.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like insanity.
Mind to what is happening, then you will know the truth. With the recent discovery of so many new worlds in our universe that were unthinkable just a few years ago, then the theory of roving planets that visit our neighborhood every few thousand years is one that could very well become the greatest secret of our generation. 2018 is expected to be a pronounced year for seismic and volcanic activity, as well as climate-related events, even as this year goes out with a bang. Yet another extreme weather event occurred on Christmas Day as more than 4 feet of snow fell on Erie, Pennsylvania in one 24-hour period. This shattered the city's calendar day snowfall record for December 25th. The snow continued through December 26th, bringing the 2-day total to an incredible 56.5 inches.
Yikes.
This prolific event shattered all previous multi-day
There's the
snowfall
Erie,
records
PA
in
one,
Erie, dating back to 1893. This according to the National Weather Service office in Cleveland. Erie picked up more snow in less than 36 hours in this event than their previous 13-day snowstorm record. The 92 inches of snow so far in December is the city's snowiest a single month on record, crushing the previous record of 66.9 inches in December of 1989. The accumulation of this much snow in a short time period is something that longtime residents have never witnessed before. Events like these continue happening as the Earth encounters dramatic changes. Here is an image composite of this amazing snowstorm.
Wow, look at that. And that dropped in a few hours, right, Scott?
Yeah, it was like 55 inches in about a little over 2 days. Now, things will actually start to slow down for them as far as precipitation and snow, because all of the lakes have frozen over ahead of schedule.
Right. That'll stop the lake effect. That'll help the lake effect, snow effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the colder temperatures.
You'll see some moisture being picked up coming out of the western part of Canada.
Meanwhile, in Brisbane, Australia, gigantic hailstones rained down on residents on December 26th, when a severe weather system swept through the area. Hailstorm frequency is increasing worldwide as climate change continues to worsen. Shortly before Christmas, the Philippines suffered devastating losses after tropical cyclone Timbin swept across the region, causing immense flash flooding and mudslides. This storm came on the heels of tropical storm Katok, which hit the region in mid-December.
Look at that storm cell. Holy
Indonesia's
shit.
Mount Sinabung erupted on December 27th.
Oh, that's an eruption.
Seen in this video from World of Signs, leaving a thick cloud of smoke and ash over parts of the country's North Sumatra.
And people worry, listen, no disrespect, we need to take care of the planet, and people worry about carbon monoxide, and that one volcano put so much shit in our atmosphere. Mm-hmm. We couldn't even make that much, in 100 years out of LA, with cars and gas and, emissions and things like that. People don't seem to understand that the planet is going through, and I don't believe in polluting the planet at all. I think we should take care of our planet. But it's not mankind creating this change in the planet, is my point. Like they want to sell to everybody to get a carbon tax, with...
That's true.
People seem to forget. I mean, you're a physicist, Doc. I mean, how much, when a volcano erupts like that, it's putting out, what types of material are going into our atmosphere?
Yeah, it's a lot of sulfur, a lot of heavy metals.
Sure.
What you get is basically small particles in the atmosphere that disrupt the ozone layer. They cause acid rain. It's worse than any kind of pollution we could possibly
There's a lot of poisonous gases.
That's my point too, right? You get poisonous gases out of there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't you even get fiber? Don't volcanic in certain areas, especially even Yellowstone, from what I understand, because of its location, if it erupted, it would put a lot of fiberglass up into
glass. Well, all volcanic.
Put out glass, but Yellowstone's known for a lot of glass, like allegedly that they state is that the area a lot of glass. I mean, that would go into humans' lungs and animals' lungs in seconds. I mean, it's toxic. This stuff.
That's right. It's like cement. But the damage that it does to the atmosphere is absolutely incredible. A huge volcanic eruption can end all life on Earth.
That's what sure. And people don't take these volcanoes seriously. Like, don't worry, it's over there. It's not going to hurt us anywhere. It's not hurting our atmosphere. But let's drive electric cars. That'll solve the problem. Yet you have volcanic eruptions going on a regular basis on this planet. Whether more so now, but. The poison that they're putting into our atmosphere is incredible.
Yeah, it is. Carbon dioxide is not actually a problem because the plants on the planet need carbon dioxide.
Sure.
So what happens is when you create more carbon dioxide, the plants thrive and the plants create more oxygen. So it's actually what we need.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a lie that they say that carbon dioxide is the problem. The problem is actually the chemtrails that are putting in the atmosphere, which is destroying the ozone layer, which is then allowing high energy UV radiation to get through, and that UV radiation can end all life on Earth.
Sure. I keep telling everybody about the radiation. Nobody wants to listen. I'm like, this planet's getting blasted with radiation. That's amazing, though, to see this volcano, this in our lifetime, to see all these major events taking place.
That's right. Yeah.
Look at that thing. The first time I've ever seen a volcano or a plume like that was down in Costa Rica, many years ago.
Rain of ash fell on villages east of the volcano. Mount Cinnabong has caused the island to be on alert since September of 2013, when it first erupted. Its previous explosions have been fatal, including one in May of 2016. On December 20th, a powerful eruption of the Bezymyany volcano on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula created the strongest ash eruption of this region for 2017. These images indicate just how terrifying this particular eruption must have been for those living here.
That's the one that went 50,000 feet in the air. You could see the ash. They're showing pictures of the ash on top of the snow, Doc, so it's like changed its color.
Okay. Yeah, and it stays up there for a long time. This is why volcanic eruptions can end all life on Earth, because they just stop sunlight from getting to the surface. And that leads
Many people flooded the
plants
social
not
media
being able
pages
to live. They just die because it stops photosynthesis. And of course, all food on the planet is based on plant life. If all plant life dies, then all animals die.
Sure, and our food and our food sources.
Yeah,
and our food source, obviously, because you can't grow without UV light.
Exactly.
On December 22nd, when this object was seen streaking across the
This is
western
still a
sunset
bizarre thing with the
in
picture from
California.
80 years ago.
Some thought they were witnessing a huge UFO in the sky, while others thought it to be a miraculous sign from the heavens. What was actually seen by thousands of people that
There it
evening,
goes. Look at that
according
picture.
to numerous reports, was the launch of a rocket named SpaceX Falcon 9, which is delivering Iridium satellites into orbit. As the sun set over the Pacific, many spectators filmed this dazzling scene in what can be considered a rare spectacle in the sky.
I got a question. Check the. Oh, wait a second. What's in the background there, Scott? Those aren't street lights.
I've seen some of this video footage. Those ones are street lights in this.
That's a
portion here.
street light?
Yeah, the one right on the pole.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the spot that's down below there. Like there's two spots there.
It looks like some type of a yellow light. It's hard
Yeah.
to say from.
Oh yeah, it is a street light right there. I see it now.
Scene in what can be considered a rare spectacle in the sky. Have a look.
This was an incredible. One of our board members took this like photos and video at the time, and he sent me the photos, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw it himself, and he was just like, holy shit. I mean, it is something to, behold. That's amazing. Now, I don't know if you know, Scott, but a minute before this rocket, Japan shot off one.
Yeah,
and then Russia shot off.
Southern California was not the only location to witness an unusual spectacle in the sky prior to Christmas. Not far away in Yuma, Arizona, a strange weather-like cloud fell from the sky while harboring parts of a circular rainbow, a phenomena that is baffling and highly unusual. On December 8th, a 5.9 earthquake struck near Raoul Island in the Kermatics, New Zealand. A few hours after the seismic event, tsunami waves reaching up to 1 meter were measured at the GeoNet's Raoul Island pressure gauges.
Wow.
Scientists were stunned. Normally, tsunami waves aren't expected after earthquakes of this magnitude. Since then, the cause of the seismic waves and the tsunami have not been determined, as first results indicate the event is unlikely to have been the result of movement on a tectonic fault or an underwater landslide. The following map shows the apparent sources of these seismic waves, shown here as the green star, and the surrounding pressure gauges that recorded the tsunami waves, as shown by the colored triangles. The tsunami waves were first recorded by the Raoul pressure gauges 2 to 3 hours after the magnitude 5.9 earthquake.
They had to have come from the
quake, They were also
Scott.
recorded at various points around the North Island, as indicated in these gauges. The event remains a mystery, but scientists have introduced possible indicators, including a geothermal explosion, a sudden upward movement on a circular fault, or an undetected underwater volcano eruption. A series of theories, but no definitive answers to explain this particular ocean phenomenon. Here is something of significant importance when determining the frequency and the intensity of earthquake activity in these latter days. Between September and November of this year, in a span of 3 months, Mexico was hit by 13,000 earthquakes of magnitude between 1.2 and 8.2, as reported by the National Seismic.
13,000 earthquakes from September to November, magnitude 1.2 to 8.2. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's in a very small concentrated area, which makes it even worse.
Sure.
Service of Mexico. 5,700 of those quakes happened in the month of September alone.
Jesus.
2 of those quakes were deadly, happening on September 7th and on September 19th, causing extensive damage in the range of $2.5 billion. Remember this. It is not always the magnitude of a quake that is of the greatest concern, but rather the frequency of these events over a period of time. As the activity increases, the likelihood of a catastrophic sequence of events becomes even more of a concern than its intensity. So keep that in mind as you look for the signs of.
All right, now I'm going to go back to the photos from you guys on your video. And, okay, Scott, first off, what are we looking at right here with this one? This is the first one on your video. Can you see that?
Wait for the little delay to go through there. Okay, yeah, this is the object that we spotted on the 25th of December. And this was just a little after midnight going into Christmas Day.
I'm going to zoom in on that so that I can show them the object itself. I think I'm going to pick the orange one down here that's more oranger. So
the one in the upper left has the better resolution.
The upper left? Okay.
Upper left.
All right, I'll zoom in on that one. There we go. Ah, there it is. You can see the object is clear as day right there.
You know, this object, it clearly had stripes on it.
Now, what size is that? How big is that, Dr. Albert?
Is it the one with stripes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That one was actually a small one compared with some other ones we've got. I since wrote an article about these sizes. It was 4 times larger than the Earth.
So everybody sees right
Don't
here.
Don't forget these are stars.
This is 4 times the size of Earth right here. This round object. I'm showing them with my mouse so that they can see.
Maybe a little bit smaller than Jupiter.
A little
yeah,
bit
it's
smaller.
it's just less than half the size of Jupiter.
People are asking what we're looking at. Please explain what we're looking at, what this object is, and you can see that it's connected to the sun right there and getting charged.
Yeah.
You're looking at the composite imagery of the Solar Dynamics Observatory. It's a spacecraft that monitors the sun in different wavelengths or angstroms of light. So there are multiple views. They're identified by colors and blah blah blah. This was not even part of a coronal mass ejection where we were able to utilize the light from the explosions and the angstroms of light from the cameras to identify these objects being seen in the coronal mass ejections. We're still finding it to this day. But in this series of photographs, there is no coronal mass ejection, nothing.
So this planetary object, this striped planetary object, is just attached to the sun. It's just...
Yeah, they connect to the sun magnetically, remember? And whatever...
You can see it. You can actually see the connection.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Plasma flows along the magnetic field lines from the sun towards the object. This is one of the ways they drain the sun. They actually are drawing plasma from it. They actually exchange plasma with the sun. So they lose their own layers of ionizing material, and that goes into the atmosphere of the sun. And then they gain this plasma that comes from the sun. And they also absorb energy because they like an internal electrical battery. And they draw energy from the sun. And so they gain that energy. They start being able to ionize their own material, to produce their own reactions, and to start emitting light.
So go ahead. Sorry.
I call that the rejuvenation process. So they actually come to the sun to rejuvenate because they're old stars. They're no longer able to emit light. But by going into the sun's corona and absorbing the sun's energy and the sun's plasma, they regain the ability to emit light.
So, would these objects, and I know we had an incredible one a little while ago that on the last time we did a live, it was just Scott caught you guys. It was huge, like it was like spitting it's like out of the sun. Could these objects be causing the sun to act differently?
Oh, definitely. They are basically destroying the sun. The sun, they have been there for a long time, but their effect on the sun in the last few years has been even more dramatic than anything we've ever seen. The sun is losing light intensity at an unprecedented rate. The size of the coronal holes are just unbelievable. I mean, if you look at some of the images where we can see coronal holes, the sun is basically becoming one big coronal hole. And I know that it usually is supposed to happen towards the solar minimum, but we are supposed to be 1.5 years away from the solar minimum. It was definitely predicted not to happen before 2020. And now at the end of 2017, we already have such low solar activity that it's as if we reached that minimum already.
Could that be why, Scott, both of you, could that be why they have fired up the sun simulator earlier and been using it?
You know what? The sun simulators have been used for a while, and the reason for that is because the sun actually goes dark periodically, or parts of it go dark. It's not just eclipsing. The sun is like an electrical star, and these objects drain it so much that the surface of the sun goes dark. It's like you're watching a city and there's a power failure and the lights on the city go off bit by bit. This is what happens with the sun. And because it's probably maybe happening more and more, but I don't think we are actually seeing the real sun anymore. I think
I
they
agree.
have a whole fleet of sun simulators.
Yeah, you have to understand something. If our theories are correct and the sun has been dimmed, listen, this is very, very basic.
Got it.
If we dimmed the sun just a little bit, every single human being on the face of this planet would notice it, because in the peak of the daytime, it would look like twilight all the time.
Got it.
We wouldn't have this bright white object illuminating the sky. When was the last time you went outside in, freezing cold weather and the sun was shining, not a cloud in the sky, and you look up and you put your face in the sun in freezing temperatures and it burns your skin? That's a sign of magnified light. The light is being magnified. They are able to do it. We've captured it many times.
Oh, that's why I think they knew this was coming. That's why they got a patent and designed this back in the 60s. You didn't. Why would in 1960 the United States have to create and get a patent for a sun simulator if they did not have foretold knowledge, or information of what the hell was coming?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we think that there's many of them up there that use different technology, but there's no doubt. We have enough solid proof going back to what you were just talking about, and the latest photographs that came out of South Dakota that Mr. MBB 333 publicized, and then I had the photographs from his video and the video digitized, the resolution brought up on them. And there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that it fits the bill 100%.
Got it. Yeah, I agree for sure. And it's got to be. They're not going to tell anybody. Oh, there would be a panic.
No, there are so many things that really can't be divulged. And if you notice that all of mainstream media and news around the world in all of the, modern countries, they're not talking about anything else but politics. Doesn't matter what country.
Right.
And there is so much going on around the world that there's enough news to fill up a 3-hour news broadcast every night. But all they talk about is, it's either Trump and the United States government or this government, blah, 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 blah. And they're just a big, gigantic charade because they're not going to cover other newsworthy things happening.
Let me ask both of you a question. When you're looking at this photo, and the object's very clear. When you look at the sun, it looks like it's like in bad shape.
Well, I was just going to mention, when Claudia was saying the sun going dark in the coronal holes, the other day we were looking at some GOES 13 satellite imagery, the X-ray satellite that takes X-rays of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time ever, I viewed the X-ray footage, and the whole Earth-facing part of the sun was completely black, except for one small sunspot that was crossing the northern face of the sun.
Well, look at your close-up here. The sun looks horrible. It looks like it...
Oh, no, this was completely black.
That's what I mean. It looks like it's completely black.
Well, in this, it's really not, but on that GOES, it was black.
Less and less photons, let's put it that way. It's been doing that since the SDO images have been available, and it goes right through. I show some of these photographs from 2013 to 2014. It grew darker, even though the solar maximum was on in 2014.
Yeah, in full blast. You know what this is like equivalent to? I mean, just to be off scientific, I'll give you a non-scientific analogy.
Okay.
This is just like me tossing you a plugged-in microwave while you're sitting in the jacuzzi. That's basically what this is.
We have a question. We have a question. That are these stellar cores going to stay there and drain the sun, or will they break away and continue their orbit around the sun and back out?
Well, see, that's the thing. They're orbiting the sun now.
So they're already orbiting the sun now.
They're orbiting the sun now, and what I've calculated over the last 9 months, and I've shown all of the proof since June. We started seeing some very significant
since June,
on the sun in June, and I documented all of them, and we have confirmed sightings May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and now in December. So to me, that's enough evidence, and we've had hardcore sightings every single month, and I timed it on a basically like a calendar. The calendar is basically spot on. In the beginning of every month, the first 5 to 7 days, things are quiet. But then we start moving, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th to the middle of the month, and then boom, we have a coronal mass ejection. We see the massive coronal holes. We see the large plasma discharges from the sun, and then I get my sighting.
This is amazing.
Yeah, you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see the big one. The large one, which if you want to call it Nemesis, call it whatever the hell you want. This thing is massive. Claudia, what did you calculate its size?
The biggest one I observed was about 3 times the size of the sun. And don't forget, this is the core of a star. So the core of the sun is believed to be 1/5 the size of the sun. So if we have the core of a star that is 3 times the size of the sun as a main sequence star, that star was 15 times the size of the sun.
Wow.
I have this on video. What you're showing here right now, I have the actual video of the sun.
This actually looks like a painted picture instead of you know what I mean? Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, all of the photographs have been brought up to high resolution, which takes me, a little bit of time to put all of the photographs in high definition, because you have to understand something. They are blurring. They're blurring some of this.
Wow, this sun looks really bad in these photos, Scott.
Yeah, it takes me. I mean, it took me a long time to learn how to get past their technology.
So let me ask you a question that everybody's asking, okay? And I'm going to say the same thing. Even over the past few days, photos coming from all over the Earth showing the sun. It shows it extremely weird shaped and like craziness. It's showing it, and it's extremely bright, and it's very weird, bizarre shapes. I mean, it looks like teardrops. It looks like diamonds, and then you could see those. At times you see it hexagon, and when it's setting, is that because this simulator? I think it's because the simulator is not following exactly with the sun, like causing it to or reflections or. I don't think it's one simulator like you're saying, Doc. I think it's multiple of these gold hexagon lenses, and they're using real gold, if you do the research on it, on these lenses. And it's almost as if they are misaligned or something.
Yeah, well, the simulators are not, most of them are not round. They are hexagonal in shape. They built out of straight lines. They then blur whatever light source it produces by placing lenses in front of it, which magnifies the light and produces all kinds of weird effects. And the system is not perfect. So it doesn't produce a light that's exactly like the sun, because they cannot do that. I mean, in my last short article I wrote on this, I actually saw that at least some of the simulators are not even in orbit. They're inside the atmosphere because the light is being reflected off the clouds.
Yep. You can also see this with the moon. It's like there's a projector, there's a spot, and you see this lens. You see this long straight, it's like a straight, and it cups out like this, and then there's a concave where the lens is or the light is that's shining on it. It's getting picked up in people's cameras on the lens. So even if you turn it, you're still picking it up because you're looking at light and it's bending. So you're actually, and I think the fancier and more technological our cameras on our phones get, I think we're picking up more and more of that bent reflection, so to speak, of what's like either behind it or showing where this projection is coming from. And you'll always you see them, Scott, too. Those big purple half moon looking.
Yeah, they look like a lens flare, and it's hard to say what they really would be. Are they truly a reflection of a spherical object out there? I mean, one of the biggest problems is moving into the digital age with cameras.
Sure.
If you take some of these photographs with regular 35 millimeter film, old school, you actually come up with different effects. You're always going to have a lens flare when you're photographing sources of light.
Oh yeah.
But this what's happening with the moon and these photographs with the moon, there's a huge possibility that when people take these photographs on a full moon night and you're looking up and you can actually see with your own eyes the surface of the moon, and then you take your camera, a good camera, and you take that photograph. Now the moon is nothing but an overexposed piece of white sphere. It's just a white sphere, like a flashlight.
Right.
So if you take the same camera and you take a picture face to face with a flashlight, well, that's what you're going to see. So that camera should be able to take that photograph perfectly. And you should be able to see the surface of the moon in the camera, in the photograph. But what people are coming up with is just this white, overexposed, what they say is the moon.
Yeah.
But they may
I've
be
noticed
taking a
that.
picture of something that's simulating that light.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. These are some awesome photos you guys got here. So here's a big, huge question now that I'm going to ask you. You see this and you pick these up on the satellite cameras that are up there. Why aren't astronomers picking this up? Ones that look at the sun with special telescopes and things like that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of these people that are using backyard telescopes, even if they're telescopes that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, that some of these people have. People that do astrophotography have maybe 10 grand wrapped up into a telescope.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking to see planets, which are going to give off light, reflected light from the sun. They're going to be looking at stars. They're going to be looking for that light source. Well, these objects don't give off their own light. They're only being illuminated by the sun. So if you think your backyard telescope, no matter how good it is able to see 93 million miles away and give you a crisp, detailed photograph like what you're seeing now, then your telescope has to be worth, $500 million for what it costs to put this satellite up in space with a super sophisticated camera system and sensors and detectors on it. So if you have a telescope that is equipped with infrared technology, there may be a chance.
Yeah, I'm actually, as soon as this show's over, I'm going online and ordering a new infrared attachment for my cell phone. They're expensive, but I tried when the one company was out of them. I see that they have them in stock now. It was around by the time of the eclipse.
Yeah,
everybody was. They were all gone.
A lot of people don't realize that modern digital cameras and modern cameras on your cell phones, they do have infrared technology in those little cameras, and even the best Nikon P900 or whatever the hell it is, they all have a little bit of infrared technology. So it's another reason why people may be picking up some of these, anomalies when they're photographing the sun. You never know what you're going to catch. So, I don't ever put down too much information on these pictures because we need to keep our eyes in the sky. We need to keep taking the photographs because we never know what somebody's going to capture.
That's
like the guy in South Dakota that caught the sun simulator.
Exactly. And that was shown with Mr. B. I'll show that real quick as well. But
yeah, he didn't even know it.
Yeah, some people that are on here haven't, seen that, and I'll go into that right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of newcomers that are, coming into...
Here's the new one for Mr. BBB. He says thousands of small moving objects engulf satellite as it is released into outer space.
Monday, December 31st, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 2017. Last day of the 2017 year. We'll be entering 2018 here very soon. Let me be the first to wish you a Happy New Year. Some of you, it's already 2018. For us here in North America, we are still looking at 2017. What I'm showing you is a rocket launch from just last year. I wanted to do this video before the end of this year because it's still fairly new compared to a rocket launch that just went over my house a couple weeks ago. It's quite mild, comparatively speaking.
It looks different than what he just saw take off. You see that?
To outer space, carrying the GOES 16 new experimental weather satellite.
Those rocket launches that you were talking about, I have a website that lists every rocket launch that goes off of this planet.
Anyway, back to the Cape Canaveral rocket.
Not only was there the rocket launch from the U.S., Japan, and Russia, but there were 4 rocket launches in 5 days, and China launched one also.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, if you have that, I would love to put that.
Yeah, it gives you an immediate heads up.
All right, so let's see what he's got here. I want to see what he's got. I've never seen this. Is a new
outer space, carrying the GOES 16 new experimental weather satellite. There's a still image of the rocket that went over my
It does look different than the one that just took off.
Nothing to see there. Just move along. Anyway, back to the Cape Canaveral rocket out of Florida. There it's starting to separate, and it's reaching the edge of outer space. Still got a ways to go before we get out of the Earth's gravity. Right now it's still separating, and these are the real-time phases of the rocket as it was launched on November 19th of 2016. We're reaching 105 miles high in the atmosphere and moving at 13,000 miles per hour, almost 140 miles up, and then we're going to go to the release of the actual experimental satellite itself. And that's what I want to talk about, is all of this debris that's surrounding the satellite, the payload, when we are in space moving at nearly 14,000 miles per hour. It just doesn't make sense to me when you look at it. And I'm going to zoom in tight and show you some of this stuff up real close. There's just thousands of particles that are moving in different directions. And that's one of the things that if you pay attention, you'll see that these things are not being energized by the motion of the payload you see here. That's the GOES 16 instrument, and you're looking at it being released from the rocket itself. Look at all the debris. How is it? And this is at real time, and the reason I bring this back up, we're at 142 miles up. We're in space at moving at 13,000 miles per hour, or at least that was the last data that we got right before we went to this mode. Look at this stuff. It's drifting around like it's in water. I'm going to zoom in tight.
I think it's a crock of shit is what I think it is. You think I'm kidding you?
Particles moving in all.
Yeah, I saw this video earlier.
I didn't see this shit. That's why I'm bringing it up with the doctor, and I'm curious. She can't see it, though.
I've seen it. I actually watched the video earlier. I also thought it was very, very strange to see particles moving in such strange trajectories.
It does look like it's in water almost.
It does. You know that I believe that NASA often films things in water and then.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and here's something else too, man. You see the size of those particles?
Yeah.
These spacecraft, these things are delicate. They're not meant to be. Listen,
I agree. These things are built as, I don't think anybody's ever really seen. They've seen pictures, but these things got that's like aluminum foil. It's a foil cover. I'm using aluminum as a comparison. I'm just saying it's as thin, some of this stuff. These things are like built like little models. You know what I'm saying? Like you're building this little delicate model inside at NASA or space, wherever they're building them.
Be lightweight. They're 30,000, 40,000 pounds. That's it.
Sure. And let's see what he finishes.
Directions.
Look at that. It's all going in different directions. Yeah.
I don't know. That just wasn't my vision.
That's not supposed to happen. If the particles came with the satellite itself when they opened up the payload department where
the payload doors.
The doors, yeah.
The particles would come out, but they would have the same velocity as the ship and would all move in a certain direction. But what we see here is particles crossing each other, and they therefore have reverse directions. And the ship is moving at quite a velocity. If these particles were in space, you should see them moving in the opposite direction to the craft. We don't see that.
This craft's moving at 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. So it's very strange to see these particles. I mean, you would expect them to all move in a certain direction, but they're moving in opposite directions often. And at high speed in opposite directions. This does not make sense.
I want to see how this goes. Look as he blows it out.
You know, when I see things like
no, it's not a UFO, Tim.
I question, what is that?
Somebody's asking, are those UFOs?
I mean, if it's debris from the rocket, how come it's moving so slowly? And
it is very slowly, and it's like, it's weird.
Floating.
Everything else is moving so quickly. You know, it goes against just basic principles of laws of motion. You know, how does that have an independent motion of the larger objects that are the more dominant objects? And if there's going to move mass around, which those are considered mass, even though they're small, they're being moved by a force that we apparently cannot see. It almost looks as if it's underwater, even though we just saw it launch into space, right? But this camera is pointing, or was pointing, forward ahead of the rocket. And forward motion. So anyway, I found it interesting. This is the new GO-16 satellite. In fact, I have it up and running on my desk. It is an excellent piece of equipment, and I run it all the time. But this stuff here I found interesting during the launch of the satellite itself. Look at that stuff, drifting around like little pieces of shrimp. I'm just saying, that's what it looks like, that big one right there. It's like a piece of shrimp.
He's like, that's
moving to the left.
It would be part of the packaging that this whole thing came in.
I was thinking the same thing, Doc. It almost looks like insulation or something that was or was left inside the cargo bay or some type. You know what I'm saying? But I thought those were usually all have to be like totally clean in there, like they
they do. They have to be sterilized
and everything.
Months. But these particles are moving in opposite directions at different speeds.
Yeah,
in
it
different
doesn't make
directions. It's and something else. If you notice all of the little round lens flaring that you see in the camera.
Yeah, I see that.
That's almost indicative
right here
of a camera underwater with condensation starting to build up on the internal lens.
Yeah, it does look like that actually.
Yeah, if you let it run, you'll see the little round lens flares. They're right there.
Yeah, you can see the lens. There's a lot of lens flare there.
And then some
Yeah,
kind of
if you let it run, you'll see them.
Like
They're
this one right
popping,
here.
popping.
They're being manipulated by a
I think NASA doesn't want us to see what they actually do in space, so they replace the footage with footage that they film on Earth inside a pool, probably.
Yeah, I agree with that because they don't want us to. You'll see other things in space that we're not supposed to see.
Like the sun simulators, all their holographic projectors, and so on and so forth.
Did you see the one NASA ISS space station footage? A freaking bumblebee was inside the freaking green screen studio and flew right past the camera. And they let it be. It was a bumblebee.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, a bumblebee in space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, somebody's asking, Tim, those aren't other satellites. The satellite's supposed to launch 10 satellites, they said, this rocket.
No, not this one.
Not
is
this
back
one.
In 2016.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
This one here you can see moving to the upper left is being manipulated by an independent force. You would think that it would be following.
That's
the
definitely
motion
filmed
of the
somewhere
satellite,
else.
But they're not. They're moving independently on their own.
That's not typical space.
So I found that interesting. I wanted to share that before the end of the year. As I took this one here moving at a high rate of speed. See it? There's another one here moving at a very high rate of speed.
It's a whole bunch of shrimp.
The rest of them.
Yeah, shrimp on the Barbie.
Shrimp on the Barbie, mate.
Look at that one there. Just took off. You got to admit, that is super interesting.
Sure is.
It's real close. And I have slowed it down so we could get a nice close-up look at this stuff. And the fact that it's moving in all different directions, like on its own, there that goes.
All right, I'm going to switch to his video real quick about the Hexagon Sun
it's
Simulator so everybody can
Thursday,
see it that's
December.
new watching. Because this really will blow people's mind who haven't seen this, and I want them to see this. I mean, that's as clear as day, this picture. It's the hexagon with the circle, and it matches our sun simulator that was even... I mean, I'm sure they took the original patent and made it into something much more sophisticated today, but it matches the look of it exactly.
Well, here's the thing. I think that they've had... the first sun simulator up there.
A long time ago, probably.
Yeah, then possibly some better technology, some new design. That one's up there. Then some more new technology, new design. So there could be 3, 4, 5, 6 of them up there.
Yeah, I believe there's several of them.
Planet's polluted with space junk.
Yeah, I know. Lots of space junk. And you gotta ask yourself this question about this space junk, right? You got all this space junk alleged to be up there. Nuts, bolts, screwdrivers, all kinds of shit. All kinds of shit, right? And they map these pieces of debris, supposedly. And, one of those objects flying near the anything, ISS or you know, or satellite. I mean, one bolt could take out, at the speed that it's moving, could take out and rip a hole in the side of one of these.
They do hit the space station. You know, they said that they have emergency patch kits. Now listen.
Emergency patch kits.
Yeah. If you take a 1 inch by 1 inch bolt, and it's traveling through space with no gravity, nothing holding it back at 10, 15,000 miles per hour, and it impacts the side of the space station, do you really think a do-it-yourself patch kit is going to really work on that?
Of course not.
Okay, it's the same as firing a bullet at a tin can, a soda can, at close range and using a high-powered rifle bullet.
All right, so let's ask another question then. How come...
The bolt would go right through the space station.
Sure. So then, okay, let's go to something else. We claim that we map out launch paths around this debris, correct? I mean, to shoot off a SpaceX rocket to go into space, we need to go around this junk, right?
Yes.
That's why they're always landing back on Earth. Or blowing up on the pad.
Well, Doc, let me ask you something. If you got thousands and thousands of pieces of junk, I mean, what's the odds to get the exact timing to get through a path of that junk?
Very unlikely, because I don't think they are able to track everything. I mean, they cannot even see asteroids often as they come close to Earth. How are they going to track all the space debris?
That's what I think it's a big farce, to be honest with you.
I think it's all a big farce. To tell you the truth, I wouldn't go out into space in a ship that doesn't have shields. It just is not going to work.
I agree. And people are saying, you know, they know areas where they can't set up satellites. No, the satellites are in certain orbits, so they claim. And they are even mapped out on certain, you know, you can go into some of the bigger satellites are mapped out on Apple Sky and, you know what I mean, Google with Sky and things. And they show you these alleged pieces of, you know, these satellites and then where the space junk is. I find it very hard to believe that all this debris is flying around. And I think the reason why we're seeing a lot more low orbit satellites and things is because there's a reason that they're going in low orbit and not higher where they have been. And they're launching, allegedly, these small mini satellites, and they're launching, suppose, thousands of them. New ones this year coming out, but they're very small now, so they claim.
Yeah, one of the last payloads for SpaceX was supposedly 10 satellite pods.
Pods, that's right.
Supposedly
pods.
GPS.
So they claim that they were for GPS. That's the last payload.
I don't believe it at all. It was supposed to be contracted through a private company that, you know, paid SpaceX to launch the 10 pods, satellite pods for the GPS.
Yeah. So let me play this real quick to show some of these pictures. He did a great job on this video.
2017. Remember a few weeks back, a photo surfaced. A gentleman sent it to me from Crazy Horse.
Oh, this is one from South December Dakota. 28th.
And in the photograph, a hexagon appeared in the upper left-hand corner. He didn't notice this hexagon until many weeks after the fact. There was no direct sunlight involved in the photograph that could create maybe a lens ray or a glare. It was just a simple photograph. And this hexagon...
Stupid ads. God.
He sent it to me to look at. I kind of compared it to the sun simulator because it does have similarities. But we don't know for sure what we're dealing with here. It almost looks like there's two. If you look at it real close, you can see an outline of one here.
I think that's just the reflection of it on the cloud.
Just off center, a few degrees to the right. Whether it is two or not, I have no idea. But anyway, it's kind of neat. Don't know what it is, but it does have an uncanny resemblance.
There it is,
to the sun simulator. And the sun simulator is not a conspiracy. It's actually a real thing. But check this out. A video was sent to me. I'm about to share with you from southwest Birmingham, Alabama. Therese shared this with me a couple of days ago, and I'm about to share it with you. I've seen a lot of sun pictures and video over the years, but I've never seen one.
I've
like
yet to see this video. I haven't
unique.
seen this.
And here it goes. It looks like something is moving in the center of the sun. Whether it is literally something moving or it's the camera trying to process something, I don't know.
I don't see what he's looking at in his
myself.
pictures.
Filters, briefly no filters, and you don't want to take videos of the sun too long without filters because it can do damage to your cameras and stuff like that. So
try damage to your retina too.
This here, I've never seen anything quite like this. I'm going to play you the original. What I've done is slowed it down, zoomed in, and you can see there's something moving.
You've seen
in the
this,
center
Scott?
of the sun.
Yeah,
there it goes.
Yeah,
That's how
I've
it
seen
shows
this
to me. Look.
video, but I've also seen other video footage of this thing rotating in the middle.
Oh, look, there it is.
If you pause it and look at certain segments, individual clips of the video.
Wow. Look at that. That's it. Look at that. You see that? You can see the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. And look at it looks like a big Batman light, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? In the middle is rotating. And then this is not normal for the sun either. This prism, it looks like, this line.
No.
It looks like Saturn, actually. When you look at it, it looks like the rings going around Saturn. I mean, really. But you can really see that playing in this thing.
You can see a hexagon.
Look at that.
Watch.
Wow.
Yeah, and people have the audacity to tell you that you're crazy.
I know, we're crazy.
You're just not doing your homework, buddy.
Exactly. They don't know. They got to be out of their minds. I mean, this is like as clear as day.
Mm.
Look at that. I mean, you can see the doop, 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 doop.
There you go.
Yeah, that's normal. Not.
Yeah, and we captured it from the International Space Station. Undeniable photographs of this thing from the International Space Station where they screwed up. And when we did that video, we got that footage. Shit, we picked it apart. I had all the photographs done in high definition and different colored filters, and lo and behold, structure.
I really think the sun is dying.
Or it's already dead.
Or it's already dead, yeah.
To an extent where, it would be harmful for us not to have the heat.
You know what? I got to ask a question. Hey, Doc, if as a sun goes dormant, a star goes dormant, it puts off more radiation than it would when it's burning hotter, correct?
It depends. In the case of the sun, everything it's producing, it's being drained. So these objects are absorbing just about everything it's able to put out, because the number seems to have increased over the years of objects. I think we may still be getting some newer arrivals now and then. But these objects have been draining the sun for a very long time. But definitely since 2015, maybe these larger ones arrived then, or something very powerful arrived then, because the sun has been drained so much since then. But I don't think that the sun is completely dead yet. Don't forget, in July of this year, we got strong solar flares. I don't think the sun is completely dead.
I agree. I don't think it's completely dead. No. What I'm saying that it's dying is that I fully believe it's
dying.
It has to be. One of our members just said,
we would notice it from Earth.
Yeah,
that's what we really mean. We would notice a dimming, even a slight dimming of the sun.
Mm.
I mean, just take an eclipse, for instance. What happens? It goes dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would notice. That's why they're covering it up with the sun simulators, and they have been doing that for quite a few years now.
I think so, for sure.
Yeah. So it's definitely dimmed. It's definitely a lot weaker than it used to be, but it's still able to produce strong solar flares because these objects actually provoke those solar flares. They actually pull on the sun's coronal plasma so that it's easier for these CMEs and these solar flares to happen. They actually increase the electric field at whatever spot there is higher magnetic field, and that can lead to stronger solar flares. And if we get 2 or 3 in a row from a sunspot, then it can be quite dangerous, though.
Okay, let's play this. I want to show a little more of this. This thing's just incredible.
See that? So that's a perfect match, at least structurally, with what we saw in South Dakota. Another hexagon. Only this time it appears to be moving in the center of the sun. I've never seen.
I don't even think that. I mean,
I've seen hundreds, probably thousands.
I think this year we're going to be seeing more and more and more incredible photos.
That's a first.
Yeah.
It's almost as if a big veil has been lifted.
Very unique also. This is the one from the monument in South Dakota, Crazy Horse, South Dakota. And you can see there almost appears to be 2, but definitely 1. Now back to southwest Birmingham.
Look at how fake that sun is. I mean, you could see
it.
it.
Appears to be moving clockwise in the center of the sun in the video. This is a still image up close. It's got the hexagon shape again.
Amazing.
So I don't know what that is. I'm just sharing this with you.
The thing about it is, in this video and this footage from this guy, it's almost like the simulator failed. So therefore, it was not producing any light. So therefore, the veil was lifted right then and there. Right when the guy took the picture.
I see what you're saying. This is
visible. It's like the flashlight was turned off.
Right.
And you can now see it. If you turn the flashlight on, the light blinds you.
Yeah, makes sense. But I mean, the look of it is even just like, I mean, sooner or later, I mean, the more video, the more photos, the more,
Oh, yeah.
People are going to have to say, and you can't miss it anymore with the sun when you look at it. You can see it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. It's freaking white.
It's completely white. So then let me ask Dr. Albers, when you look at these incredible like sunsets we're getting of all these purples and oranges and things, what's causing that?
Well, you see, the objects that have come in, this whole system of stellar cores, and they're rejuvenating. Once they rejuvenate, they start emitting light. They don't emit light exactly like the sun. They emit light in strange colors, like this burnt orange or pink.
Right.
And this is why they are illuminating our atmosphere, and that's what's producing those strange colors. One of our members, Adam, just brought up a point. He goes, that would sort of explain the over the past, 5+ years, that the huge vitamin D deficiency that mankind that humans are suffering from.
Absolutely.
That's right, because the sun simulators do not produce exactly the same spectrum that the sun does. And we can see that because it looks different. And we feel different. That's why it seems to burn our skin. It seems to actually produce a lot more ultraviolet light. That could also be due to the ozone layer. But it doesn't look like the sun. It's more like a light bulb in the sky.
Exactly. Yeah. And I noticed this summer, even myself, I did some tests myself. I said, you can go outside without your shirt on and do whatever. And I lay in the sun a lot. I like the sun. And I always feel good after laying in the sun for a little while. Mm-hmm. But this past year, I could sit in the sun working on my laptop, like with the sun at my back or something. And my back doesn't even get sunburned. Mm. And then at another time, I could be in Kansas and be walking outside on the properties, looking at properties to buy and things. And I'm like, my head is like fried. Uh-huh. And then the next time it's not. You know what I mean? It's almost like a give and take. Like some real sunlight comes in for some time, and then the sun, the simulator. But I can tell you when that simulator's there, You're not, and yet other people in other areas are saying they got fried to the bone last summer.
Yep. Yep.
So
yeah, it probably depends on the stimulator over your area, because
that's what I'm saying. Yes, that because of the difference between like Kansas and the Northeast United States was totally different as far as the amount of sun I got in the same week. If I went from here to Kansas and was outside in Kansas, I would be burnt and end up tanned. If I'm here sitting outside when I was in Northeast, it was totally different. I would get really nothing.
Yeah, that just goes to show it's a different light source that's illuminating that area. It has to be.
Wow, this is just extremely exciting times we live in. That's all I got to say. I mean, I know, there's a lot of crazy, madness, dangerous stuff going on as well. But at the same time, it's exciting, to be alive, to see these, see photos and video of all this incredible stuff going on, as well as finding out, at least before my lifetime, that, the government, it's a lot of stuff that we've been told since we were children is just a lie. It's just an outright lie.
Yeah.
Scott, I'm going to... this video you guys put up of UFO recorded at Chilean airport, I didn't even see this either.
Yeah, this was 2 weeks ago.
Did you slow this down?
Yeah, I slowed it down.
I was like, damn, that plane's going awful slow. Whoa, look at that thing. What the hell was that?
I slowed it down even more and zoomed in so you could see it's actually shaped like a saucer and it's metallic.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a plane or something.
There's no way.
That's a saucer. Check that out.
Yeah.
Scott, did you check this video that it's real?
Yeah. I digitized it, put it in high definition, zoomed in on the object, and no pixelization around it.
Where did the video originally come from?
Chile.
December
16th.
Yeah, that's
there it is.
That object is for sure. That's that's interesting.
Yeah. And just like you said, it is interesting to be alive in these times, to be part of a truth movement, whether it's UFOs and aliens or, things happening in the solar system or here on Earth or politics. The dynamics of everything going on for just an ordinary person stepping into this right now is completely overwhelming. People don't even know where to begin. And then they also don't know what to believe. And that's something that a big battle that we've been fighting, is to bring more people up to speed. But, I've been publicizing my information for 2 years now. And, I'm pretty well known around the world by now. And by more than just the United States government, I could tell you that much.
Sure.
But that's our main goal, is to get people looking up into the sky, get people understanding what is happening, because then you don't sit back and have these, oh, what is that? Oh, you have to understand it. So that's why I say, knowledge is power. It truly is. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you will be.
If you know how to use it, anyway.
Exactly.
If you know how to use it, for sure.
And people think that, this is some, big push to make money and blah, blah, blah.
I know. Everybody. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, listen, I could walk away from this anytime I want to and never look back. I know enough right now, and I could keep track of everything for my own self.
Right.
But that's not what we're here to do. We are here to publicize this.
Yeah. It's just, many people are really sheep. I don't know what to, brainwashed, or they don't want to believe it or see it. I think it is. I just don't think they want to accept the truth.
Well, this has been happening for a long time on this planet. If you take a look at where we're actually at in our human species, Number one, we should have free energy on this planet.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Number two, we still have people living in jungles, running around with spears.
Right.
So they say, okay, well, the Earth is overpopulated. No, the Earth is not overpopulated. There are vast amounts of land completely uninhabited. The bottom line is they just want to keep people right where you're at on a very, very, very slow ascension process.
Right.
They want to slow us down when we should already be way out there.
Yeah.
In the education process, Dr. Albers can attest to that. They've controlled science, and history. They've controlled every bit of it.
Yeah.
And for us to think that, nothing can come into our solar system. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
No, come on, man. That's why I tell
most
people
people forget that. Well, I'm telling you, the average person on this planet really forgets, and I think we all do at some time, and have at some time, and just forget about it, that we are on this big blue marble floating around, speeding through space.
And we're speeding through space in our galaxy, and our galaxy is speeding through space.
Right.
So everything is in constant motion, and it is what it is. It does take years to maybe, learn about it, understand about it, and research it, and understand the lingo and the terminology. But this is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and Dr. Albers is an accomplished physicist, and she knows exactly what she's talking about. And we're just two people on this little blue marble that are trying to show people that, mainstream science is full of shit, and there's other things out there, and we now have a couple of new neighbors.
Definitely.
And they're not exactly nice, you know what I mean? They're not playing nice with the sun. There are some very, very, very violent interactions that we've recorded over the last 9 months with the sun. And, people don't understand that when we make a big deal of these coronal holes and the solar wind, people need to understand that this is all detrimental to the Earth.
Right.
Major Ed Dames, who was, a military, what are they, like a psychic, I forget what they call them. They're able to foresee into the future.
Oh, they do remote viewing.
Remote viewing, that's correct. Yeah. And Ed Dames, he did his 20 years in the military. He's one of the best, if not the best, remote viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've read a lot about him.
Yeah, went on to teach it, worked for corporations, wanting to spy on their adversaries in big corporate business, to governments. And, last August, he did his last seminar, and he walked off the face of this planet. And the last statement he gave is, listen, I've seen what is about to happen, and it is the scariest thing that I've ever seen. Mankind will survive and move on, but he called it the kill shot.
Yep.
And the kill shot has to do with a very, very large solar flash, coronal mass ejection, a massive form of energy coming from the sun, impacting Earth.
Yep.
And, we just talked about the little old lady prophet. She was a seer also.
Yeah, Baba Vanga.
Yeah, Baba Vanga.
Baba Vanga.
Then we have Edgar Casey. And,
Edgar Casey, right.
A lot of people throughout history, Nostradamus, and, people, they talk their shit on this subject when they really don't know anything about it. So there is so much that we've missed in history. Now, all of a sudden, over these past couple of years, more and more about Nazi Germany and the UFOs and that technology. So there is. Do you remember your history teacher telling you that Adolf Hitler communicated with aliens in pre-World War II? I mean, did he tell you that? I went to Catholic school. The nuns didn't tell me nothing about that shit.
Right.
Okay, I just started to learn about it the last few years.
Oh, Germany very big on reverse technology. They still have Germany's still Hitler-based scientists.
Still doing it.
They're still in Antarctica. They still
Right they
major base scientific base down there.
Absolutely. There's about 10 countries down there right now.
Hitler invented the jet. Okay, I mean the jet plane. You think he got that technology out of the sky back in the
that rocket
back in the late 30s? Come on.
What the hell was that? The V2 or something?
The V2, sure. And he was down. He deliberately went on these great big searches for truth and archaeological digs for power, for control. And his main thing was looking with extraterrestrials for their technology.
Yep. Yeah. So there's so much out there that we don't know about. Looking into the future for 2018, I don't know. I think we're going to have a very violent year in many, many ways than just one. Not just necessarily dealing with the earth. I think we're going to see a lot more in political uprisings. You may see more in war. But, first and foremost, you are definitely going to see some things upcoming this year and very, very soon, starting within the next couple of weeks. And as we start moving back around the sun once again, like I said last year, I warned everybody from January, February, March, April, told everybody as soon as we get into May, we are going to see the worst hurricane season that we've ever seen on this planet. And we are going to see more earthquakes and more volcanoes, and you are going to see weather patterns that are going to spook meteorologists around the world. And lo and behold, everything came together, and it was a horrible time.
Yep. People said I was crazy when I said you're going to have 50-plus inches of rain, biblical. They said, you're crazy, the hurricane that's going to hit Texas is not going to be biblical flood and biblical this. Sure enough, 48 hours later, all over the news. Prophetic and biblical. Biblical proportions of rain. Biblical proportions of this. And I said, get out of Florida now. You're next.
Yeah. I just had a conversation yesterday morning with one of my subscribers in Puerto Rico. And they were, at one point, kind of well off, the upper middle class. Everything they have is completely destroyed. They're still living in their house with no power.
Yep.
The only power on the island is for like the politicians, some hospitals. Schools are still shut down. FEMA has almost but disappeared.
Yep.
No contractors, no infrastructure work. Nothing is going on. No way to get out of there. Nowhere for these people to go. Very few flights coming in and out. And I think that was just a means of, they did some testing with this weather modification.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely steered some of these hurricanes into these areas and just wiped them out.
Yep. Largest exodus from Florida ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So in today's age, there should be no reason why Puerto Rico is not at least halfway back up and running.
Oh my! At least that.
Yeah.
I mean, with our technology, the manpower, but FEMA's broke. I mean, FEMA's done. FEMA is like cooked, and that's why people go, well, we're worried if FEMA comes in. FEMA can't. I'm like, FEMA doesn't even have enough people to take care of itself or a couple of hurricanes, let alone the entire United States. If something,
that's a big fear.
Yeah.
That's a big fear on the government, and people ask, oh, what's all the conspiracy about? What's it all about? Well, just think about it. There's 365 million people in this country.
Yep.
I mean, we outnumber the military. We outnumber the government. What?
People seem to forget how much we, at the bottom of the pyramid, outweighs the little bit at the top.
Exactly.
And the little bit at the top is very tiny, and the big base of all of these, hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, they should be afraid, because if all the people would, not even all, say 25% of the planet woke up and said, hey, listen, we're not going to put up with your shit anymore. Guess what? Boom. They're done. People don't realize the amount of power we have. And people just don't, I don't know why they just don't get that. Well, I do know why. They've been programmed not to get it.
Yeah, I mean, you have for years and years and years, you've had the the uprising of these militias.
Yep.
And they've tried to destroy these militias. And they're mainly in the north central states, Montana, Wyoming. Listen, these people live by the gun. It's the same as Texas.
Sure.
You're not going to roll in there like they did in Australia and say, give me your guns. The minute you put that shit on the street in the United States, you will cause a civil war.
Right.
You can guarantee that. So they may make the laws a little stricter, but they're never going to take guns away from Americans. On top of that, the new technology is you can make an AR-15 in your garage on a little mini CNC machine for half the price in 3 hours.
Right.
It's called the Ghost Gunner. This guy developed it years ago. It's for sale on the internet. You put the billet aluminum in the little microwave size CNC machine. Already has the programs in it. And in 3 hours, it cuts out a brand new AR-15 lower.
Wow.
You attach the barrel, the plastic, the stock, the trigger mechanism, and you now have an AR-15. How are you going to stop that? Who's your daddy now?
Doctor, I got a question for you before we wrap up, because I know you're the more Christian one out of the group.
Hallelujah.
So I'm not going to ask Scott this, but I also want to hear your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that science and space and all this is now fitting in with the prophetic part of the time period we're living in?
Well, the Bible does predict that there would be, towards the end, a time of great trouble. And what we are seeing is trouble developing on the earth. The earthquakes, wars, the weather patterns, all of this was predicted. I mean, even Jesus said that the waves of the sea roaring and things like that.
Sure.
So we are actually seeing it. So it does look like we are living at the end of this age. The Bible doesn't say the earth would be destroyed, but, that it does say that the earth's population would be severely reduced by these things. And I think we are about to see that starting to happen. I mean, we see people die, but not in huge numbers.
Exactly.
And as the disasters become worse and worse, we may start to see that happen. That's what I think. And that's what the Bible predicts will happen. Like it talks about a third of the Earth's population being destroyed by a single disaster and things like that.
I think that we are really going to start to see in 2018 the death tolls with a lot of these events coming are going to be much higher.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just from planetary events. I mean if there's the attacks or war or events taking place, that you're going to be seeing the death toll rise.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you look at Mexico with all those earthquakes, any death is not good, but the numbers were not as big in deaths from such large earthquakes and things.
Yeah, I also think the powers that be are interested in severely reducing the population. It's not just the disasters and what we're facing out there. They are actively doing things to reduce the Earth's population. In other words, to kill people. These are very, very evil leaders. that we have somehow gained for our planet.
Right.
And, you know, they covering up what's happening in space. And yet they are doing things on Earth to severely reduce the population with the chemtrails. I mean, chemtrails are designed to kill people. If they weren't, there wouldn't be viruses and things like that in them. Because they don't do anything to cover up sunlight or radiation. All they can do is give people disease.
So you're saying chemtrails, the aluminum and the bromine and things that are in there are not stopping radiation?
I don't think they're there to stop radiation. They're actually increasing radiation because they're destroying the ozone layer. That's what those aluminum particles do. They interact with the ozone and they destroy it. So they're depleting the ozone layer in the atmosphere. And that means more and more ultraviolet light gets to the surface. And as I said before, this high energy ultraviolet light is ionizing. It destroys DNA. It causes mutations. It kills living organisms.
Yeah, it kills slowly. You know, aluminum and barium.
Barium, sorry, not bromine.
Yeah,
barium.
These two main ingredients. You know, barium is long-term lethal. Aluminum. I mean, aluminum's been tied to Alzheimer's.
Oh, a lot. You do know? I mean, disease, illness, Alzheimer's, everything is on a rapid rise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like and it's not a small rise. It's like cancer. Everything is on a drastic thump. Even look at the flu. I mean, every year the flu gets worse and worse and worse, and more people die from the flu every year than anything other, any other disease.
Yeah.
And nobody pays attention because it's just the flu,
Yeah.
And now, just recently over the last couple of months, you've had this in massive outbreak of the plague.
Yes, I know. I reported on it.
I mean, come on, man. Something else I wanted to mention before. I mean, look at the life expectancy of a human being. It's like 75, 76 years old. I mean, look how complex and how tough the human species is, but yet, in this day and time, it could only live to be that age.
It's true.
That's pretty sad.
I think it's because of everything that they're doing to hold back people living longer. Even though they claim to research, new ways that people will be living much longer, and they advertise that now, coming up with medical science breakthroughs and medicine, that people will live longer. I think it's actually it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? They just want you to believe that shit. Hey, you're going to live longer. We got great technology and good drugs, but you can't afford to buy them. You can't afford to go see the doctor to get them. Okay. You don't qualify because you're too old and your illness is too great to get that kidney or to get that, that shot or whatever you need. Okay. Or that surgery. You got to go on this waiting list and just take all this medication that's full of shit that gives you more shit because of the side effects and gives you more shit and destroys more stuff. So you can sit there and die and you never make it there to get that kidney or, whatever you need. They're just going to, people are just going to die and are dying as we speak. From the same thing.
Yeah, I think the system is designed to only allow people to live so long and in the meantime to get disease and make money for the pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. All tied around that money.
Yeah,
but
and
ain't going to get you too far, in the near future, and that's sad, because we have a good world, we have a good planet, even though there's some bad, we still have a beautiful place to live, and I think a lot of us take that for granted.
I think people take life in general as granted, let alone where we live and how we have it, and they take everything for granted.
Do you want to really live in some freaking controlled environment in a pod on Mars? Do you really not ever want to drive your BMW? Because you ain't going to fucking drive it on Mars.
Exactly.
You're not going to, if you want to do that type of life, hey man, volunteer for Elon Musk's program out there in Mars. I love the Earth. I like it right here. This is where I want to stay forever. I don't want to go out into outer space. I don't give a shit what they have to offer. I don't care if it was eternal life. Let me live to be like 1,000 years old.
I hear you.
Forget it.
So let me ask, and you both answer one at a time. What would you give as good advice for people going into 2018 for this year?
Well, I always say develop your faith and learn to trust in God, because we are heading into really troublesome times, and we human beings need some kind of spiritual help in times like this. That's what I always say. Get to know your Creator.
Amen. I agree. I'm telling everybody it's time to get yourself right with God, and thus yourself. Because God is within all of us. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They always think that humans have to think much bigger than themselves and worship. Back and you'd see them worshiping gold statues and all kinds of crap. And because they have to worship something bigger than themselves when God made us in His image. I don't know if it's his, her, but whatever. God made it in His image. And God resides in all of us. And people, the division on this planet is just horrible. And I notice, and I think 2018 it's going to get much worse, that the anger, the hatred, the division.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, they are programming that in all over the planet, to cause uprising and havoc and, anger amongst people for more control.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting right with God is...
Yeah, I think what you said is very important, because if we all realize that we all created in the image of God, then if we want to respect God, we should start by respecting each other.
Bravo. Amen. Very, very well said. Yes, we should begin with respecting each other. Sadly, well, I shouldn't say that. The good news is many people, I believe, are waking up more and more every day. That they're learning and they're becoming more awake. As I believe we're dimension shifting, so to speak, frequency shifting. But that was very, very well said. All right, Scott, what's your advice? What's your advice?
I mean, my biggest goal for 2018 is the same that I went into the last 2 years, is, to get this word out there to help people to better understand things that are happening around them. It's easier said than done. You could take a look at, a real well-known TV evangelist like Joel Osteen. This guy has millions of dollars, millions of followers worldwide that are able to see him on TV and the internet and everywhere. That would be something that I would strive for. I know it's not ever going to be possible because we have too many people trying to stop us from this type of disclosure. Same thing applies for, extraterrestrial life and aliens and the UFOs. That's a little bit different. The subject matter that me and Dr. Albers cover, listen, this is, like she has stated before, the biggest cover-up in world history.
Hey, where'd that come from?
Because what we've discovered and what we're putting out there is it changes everything academically. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that they don't want to do, is rewrite the history books, stir up the world populations, and, lose control. So the more people that wake up, the more people that start to understand, listen, there's a lot of people out there that are just going to put information out to catch your eye, catch your ear. Hey, look, if you want to watch it, watch it.
Right. But remember that it's not real.
Yeah, exactly. But, sharing this information, and when I mean share it, I mean share it. Look, you share everything else on Facebook. Click on my videos or whatever we post, share it. Because sooner or later, you're going to touch somebody that's going to say, hey, Brendan,
a lot of people are afraid to share. A lot of people are afraid to share because their friends or family think they're nuts,
Exactly.
And I get that, but at the same time, I'm a full believer in you need to be you, and whatever you believe in, then that's, what you should be. You should be yourself, stay real, and that's it. It doesn't matter what other people think of you.
Yeah, and I mean, I take it to extremes now. Whenever people criticize me on a post that I put up or whatever, I tell them, okay, listen, if you know more than me, then start speaking.
Right. Exactly.
Talking. Show me your evidence. Don't just sit there and, run your mouth.
Right.
With, I call it the diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
That's basically what it is. So for people that are truthers out there that really, truly want to help humanity, you got to find these people like myself and you, and there are some others out there that are really, truly trying to fight for what is right.
Exactly. I couldn't stop if I, I got to be honest with everybody. I couldn't stop if I wanted to. It's like I'm on this mission. Got to tell the truth.
No, yeah, you're done. You're in.
Yeah, I couldn't stop if I wanted to.
Blood in, blood out, buddy.
That's it.
It's what it is. I've accepted it. Claudia's accepted it. Look, she's here in the United States now. Her immigration process has already been started and will be finalized very soon. She could go on with her background to work at any major university in this country and make a six-figure salary and not have to deal with being a target.
Sure.
I could go right back to, my industry and quietly live happily ever after. I could do it tomorrow if I wanted to. But they'll feel guilty. I mean, I really will.
Me too. I get calls as a building consultant to do multi-million-dollar projects, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't do it anymore. But if I don't have to do this. I mean, one building project in the Hamptons on Long Island from one of my clients, I'm set for a couple of years. My point though is that I didn't have to do MFA and do all this and trying to bring people together to create this and get truthers together and get the truth out. It's like Dr. Albers coming here, and even from putting, she's to become a physicist, you have a lot of schooling to do. That's a lot of work. And to go out there, I applaud her for, having the guts, even as a woman, to go out there and attack this with the truth and her belief, and the physics that's behind it.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot to do that, And
yeah, I believe I'm on a mission from God that telling people the truth is my mission. And I don't see any other physicists willing to tell people the truth. Sure. I mean, my own...
I believe you are too. I believe all of us that have come together to do this are on some type of mission from God.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. None of us are cowards. These other people are cowards.
Yeah.
I mean, I joke around with Dr. Albers all the time. I tell her, I said, look, for doing what you're doing and, giving up a very long portion of your life as a professor and a lecturer, I said, you got a lot of balls. You got a lot of balls to step up to the plate. And she's like, what do you say, Claudia? Oh, I don't have balls. But in our general American slang, you got to have big balls in this game.
Yep.
You can't be a coward. You can't be a scaredy cat. You're putting it all up there, man. You are a walking target, no matter where you go.
That's right. Truthers are a walking target, and the real dedicated ones. And people don't understand how much time it takes out of your life and money and things to do all this. They think, okay, it's just just do this, and the day goes on, and you're okay. You can work 24/7, so you can come on here and cut videos for an hour here and an hour there and an hour here. It's all good. I don't have to work. It's all good. We can just post videos all the time and bring in research and have all the time to research. I mean, I don't think people understand how much research goes into this stuff as well. Yeah. How many hours and hours and hours of research?
Oh, you're not kidding, man. I mean, between me and Claudia, I mean, she's easily puts in a 10 to 12 hour day, 7 days a week. I mean, I'm pretty much on the same schedule. I'm up in the middle of the night.
I know you are. Me and you talk in the middle of the night or early in the morning or,
Yeah. I mean, my day starts between, 3 and 4 a.m., 7 days a week. There are days that I do not know what day it is. I don't know if it's a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever. Take some naps here and there, but, it's staying up on top of all of the information, checking everything, looking at everything, analyzing everything. I mean, it is a lot of work. It's like a business.
Right.
I mean, it truly is. But, I think building the followers, building the organization, if you want to call it that, that's going to be the big key for the first half of 2018.
I agree. Yeah.
Have to get bigger.
Yep.
Your organization, people watching our material, we have to get out there. We have to reach more people. And
that's a good 2018 goal. I mean, it's written on my board here,
Yeah.
The same thing.
That's what I have planned. And, you may find me in Leavenworth sometime here in the near future because, I'm
don't say that.
Goddamn whistle off of this shit.
I hear you. I know. Together, all of us, and then with members and things, and that's why I'm trying to get more members to participate. I know people have to work and things, but to participate and or work in this, come with us at the MFA because. Whether it be writing, reporting, sharing on pages, true news and information, and researching. Researching takes so much time that I don't think really people get how much time goes into it to do the research. I'm sure you write a lot of papers, Doctor, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I've read several of them. I mean, how long does something like that take you to do? With the
yeah, it takes many hours. It's a big effort. A lot of the papers take me sometimes over more than one day to write.
Sure.
Or I do the research one day and then I write the paper the next. But I try to write one per day. But don't forget, when I was working, I was actually lecturing. If I did a research paper, I would spend 2 weeks working on it, so I'll do a little bit each day. Now I'm doing it intensely. I'm learning new things all the time and writing papers all the time. So it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of concentration, a lot of effort to do that.
And then you get breaking news thrown in it, right, Scott?
Yeah, I keep her pretty busy with all of my new finds.
Oh, yes.
But then, my point is that doing this, right, for us is, okay, we're great. We're going to plan this show. We're going to do this. And then, I'm working on this for something with the MFA Corporation or whatever. And the next thing you know, some big major news event breaks. Boom. Yeah. Or some big event in space breaks. Boom. And you got to cover that and stop what you're working on and go to that. Like I did the big thing on the Vegas shootings. I've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and now we have a final 3-part series coming out. But my point is that working on that, it was constant. And then in the middle of that, there was other, breaking news and events and things that happened, and you got to cover those too. So you have all this investigative breaking news going on, and those breaking stories take a lot of time up out of, at least for me, because, we have to cover them when it's something very important. So you can never plan anymore when you're in this business, because you can plan, but you have no idea what's going to drop, at today, any second, in the world with news or space or something else, or a major event, a catastrophic event or something happening.
Yeah, and this year is not going to be any different. This year is going to be once again another very, very busy. And then, you could report on every single thing that happens, but, the real dynamics is not me and you and Dr. Albers. The dynamics come from everybody else out there.
Exactly.
That's listening to us. See, you are the wheels that turn the machine.
Right. I try. That's what I'm explaining to our members and the public. You
have to get involved. You don't have to be on the board of directors and all this stuff, but you have to share that information. You have to share the reporting. You have to share the videos, but you also have to watch them yourself. Because remember, just clicking on the share button and flinging it out there doesn't do you any good. Because you need to gather that information, process it in your own brain so you know what's going on, and sooner or later, we're going to get down to the bare bones of things. And some of this stuff is going to be like life or death.
Exactly.
Something that I learned on Scott's show, or something I saw in one of Scott's videos, or something I saw in one of Dr. Albers' videos might just click into your mind at the second you're about to die, or you have a serious emergency situation and wow, you don't know what the hell to do.
Right.
But then something clicks. So that's another thing. Soaking up the information, staying involved with it. If you want to get further involved, get further involved. But we need to keep the steady flow of this information going around the world. And it is now starting to do that. Since we got our website up, and we were only reaching 6 countries through YouTube. As of last week, we're now reaching 40 countries through our website. 40. But again, the numbers are still low because I can't afford to pay for that big time advertising to get it really, really far out there onto internet advertising.
Branding and marketing of these shows and news stories and things, and the Truth Network and MFA and things and groups is super important, and it's hard because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
People don't understand it's expensive. And anything to me, time is money. I don't care what it is when it's time. Time is money to me. When you're, growing up as an entrepreneur and owners of companies and things, time is money to me. And time is precious to me when it comes to my family and other things. So, and time is precious on this planet. So a lot of us dedicate, I don't even know, you couldn't even put the hours in it, in a year. I couldn't even, try to, so.
I haven't even spoken to anybody in my family in 2 years. I keep both of my kids completely out of the loop. My son just started his first year at FSU on a full scholarship, baseball scholarship.
Congrats.
So, I try to keep them out of this part of my life, and this is what my life is now. So, they basically have respected that, and I don't get bothered. Nor do I have the time, and that's kind of a weird or awful thing to say, but, there are sacrifices that need to be made. I could be out there doing a lot of other things, man.
I know. I hear you.
We could be traveling. We could be sitting in the sun right now. We don't have to be targeted individuals. I got a great business mind. I have a business venture that I've been ignoring for 2 years now. That will easily put $250,000 a year in my pocket without lifting a finger. But, I just don't have the time for both. Your physical health plays a role too.
Yep. That's for sure.
That's for sure. The beat down, the mental beat down, the constant worrying. there's a lot of factors that goes into everything that we do. It's just not a video. It's just not a Facebook live stream.
Right.
You're looking at real people out here that are known worldwide. We're not just some Facebook floozy.
Oh, no. No,
or
we're
some
not.
YouTuber. Ooh, I'm a gamer.
So let me ask the last thing. We'll wrap this up. Dr. Albers, what's your New Year's resolution?
She don't make them.
Sure, I haven't even thought of one, Scott.
He has to learn to cook.
Neither have I. So you know why? You want to know why? I believe I did a show years ago. It's on my Sunday night website. Sunday Night with Scott Binsack. It's called the New Year, New Me, End of the Year Bullshit. Every year at January 1st, I'm going to, start to lose weight. I'm going to work out. I'm going to write that, book. I'm going to do this, that. And so my question to you, you're a physicist, you're an intelligent lady. Why do you have to wait till the first of the year to change your life when you could change your life right now, every day?
Exactly. I've never had New Year resolutions. I decide if I want to do something, then I do it. Scott and I have written 2 books this year, so we don't need to.
Right.
We're probably going to write some more, but we'll just write them. We don't need a New Year's resolution to do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. People get caught up in these things, and they're like, well, I'll wait till New Year's. If you really wanted to change your fucking life, you'll change it right this second.
Exactly.
No, you will. You'll change your fucking life right now. It's, and I don't get that about people. You want to change, you change. Or you want to reach a goal or achieve something, you'll, take the steps right now to do it. You're not going to wait till New Year's Eve. And that's why gym memberships do great at this time of the year, and then a few weeks in, oh, well, I'm not going to the gym. Hey, hon, did you go to the gym? Hey, Larry, you were supposed to meet me over there. Well, kids overslept. I had to run. Yep, okay. Next day, well, no. That's it. You're done. You won't hear nothing. And then right Christmas time at the party, this New Year's, I am going to get that book written. But that's it. That's my goal. Starting January 1st, I'm going to wake up and start writing that book.
Uh-huh.
If you really wanted to write that book, you would have wrote it already.
Exactly.
How bad do you want to write that book? How bad do you want to change your life? How bad do you want to open your eyes to see the world, what's really going on, or are you going to hide under your rock again for another year and live in denial and live with blinders and call everybody else, crazy and tinfoil hat people and, conspiracy theorists and everything else. It's kind of funny. I watched a lot of people who were called conspiracy theories in 2017 turn their names, like their information, they became truthers because they were proven right.
Uh-huh.
They were proven right. And I think you're going to see more of that as we go, as people come on, to be discovered. Scott, what's your resolution?
I've never really made any resolutions that I can remember because everything I do in the course of a year, I like and I want to do again in the new year.
Right.
I don't want to change anything about myself. This time around, like I said, my biggest goal for this year is to pick up right where we left off, starting today, and continue to do what we do. But I would like to see those numbers increase.
I do too.
Around the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world. I just feel that there's going to be so many people in so many different countries that are going to be basically just left out in the cold. We've already seen this with the little hurricane scenarios in the islands and in Houston.
Yeah.
These people are literally just left out in the cold.
There's a lot in Florida, too. Most people down in the Keys in southern Florida.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people
Absolutely. And see, that kind of stuff, that breaks my heart. Whenever I see the catastrophes when the big earthquake hit in Mexico.
Yeah.
They flashed a picture of the school that collapsed, and they shined the flashlight and a camera down inside of a crevice, and all you can see were this little legs sticking out from the massive pieces of concrete.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be, a little 5-year-old girl.
Horrible.
That's how she had to die, from a 1,000-pound piece of concrete crushing her little body. You see, it's things like that that push me further.
Amen.
So it's not about the notoriety. It's not about building a big name or being a big personality. It is about trying to help, trying to make people aware that this is what's happening and this is what can occur. And you have to have that common sense and that power of knowledge to get yourself through it if you get stuck in it.
Sure.
Knowing what to do. Not standing there or sitting there shitting your pants and running scared, knowing what to do.
Right.
So that's going to be my main goal for this year. And that is to bring more and more and more people, into and around all of us as a whole.
Yep, I agree.
Not just one personality.
And I believe the more that people work together to achieve that, because none of us can do it alone. That's something I learned a long time ago. You can't micromanage the future yourself and help others without letting other people help you bring them together. People have to do their part. And I think the more and more that people see the shit hit the fan and serious events happen and things take place, they'll start to chime in and want to do more to help and to be a part of it and to spread the word, to bring more people involved.
Yeah, I think before the last 6 months of this new year are over, you're going to see this movement probably increase double.
I agree.
What people are going to see within these next 6 months. If you want to bury your head in the sand, just go do it now. But sit back, watch the fireworks, because they're coming. There's no doubt in my mind.
And it's on all fronts. It's all fronts. It's political. It's planetarial. It is spiritual. It's everything.
Yep.
It's like this is we're getting hit very, very hard. The human race as a whole.
Yeah. And the human race, people think, oh, the human race ain't in jeopardy. Yeah. The human race is in jeopardy. I mean, we may be a tough species, but we're flesh and bones, and you can easily squash us in many, many different ways. We've seen it through the course of time, and in 2018, things aren't going to be any different. You're still flesh and blood. That's right. But we'll get together again soon and
sure.
talk
And just keep in mind, you'll be seeing, we're pretty much going to be on the second sealing this deal with Caesars in Las Vegas for the Rio for the third. I think it's the third week in September for the MFA Truth and Survival Summit. 500 tickets, and we're going to have keynote speakers. Everything for survival type, truth and survival summit, and vendors and all that great stuff, and business sponsors. And I would love the both of you to speak there. So,
absolutely.
Planet X, and then with Dr. Albers and things. So it's gonna be awesome.
You give me a stage, look out, man.
I know, buddy. You'll do good. I know you'll do fine, and I know Dr. Albers will do phenomenal as well.
Thank you.
And it's a good place, and you can have your books there, and people. What I want to do with this summit is this Truth and Survival Summit, is bring a lot of good truthers together. Even I'm going to invite David Icke to speak, and many other big names, to bring people together, to get more people together, to keep this movement moving and growing.
Yeah, that's a power broker move right there, and that's a damn good idea, and I think that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, we're already designing the website for it and everything, so we're ready to launch it by the end of this week coming. So I mean, it's 9 months away, but that gives us the time to market, brand it.
Yeah, let me know. If you put a little, either a little video commercial.
Yep, I'm going to need. Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to need all that stuff from you.
Yeah,
plus your logo.
I'll include it at the end of all of my videos.
logos, bios about the both of you. So it's something you may want to work on, Dr. Albers. We need bios for you.
Okay.
Autobiography, and we're going to need 2 photos, black and white. We're going to do them in nice black and white on the site and things as well. So,
yeah, it definitely sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
oh yeah, to take over Vegas in one of the largest rooms at the event rooms at the Rio is huge. And Caesars accepted us, and you have to be accepted into these events. Even though you're the one paying for it, they still have to accept you, and so that it's because it's a big deal. It's a huge deal, and this comes with the rooms, the event, everything that we're putting the packages together. And MFA will pay for the speakers and their accommodations, just so you know. So that's part of the program. All right, guys.
Yeah, we'll get to it for sure. And it was great being able to be on here with you and everybody for New Year's. Great bringing New Year's in with you guys.
I was just going to say that. Thank you. It was awesome.
Yeah, we'll get together again very, very soon. Dr. Albers, what do you think about that?
Yes, it was wonderful to be here with you and to tell people about the truth once again. That's what it's all about.
You guys are always wonderful that you come on, and every time we do it, we have a better and better show. So, and by the way, again, great photos and great information, Doc. And Scott, you capture some of the best stuff I've seen. It takes a lot of time to go review all those film every second, to go frame by frame by frame by frame by frame by frame. I don't think people by the way, did you see that thing next to the sun? Where did you pop that up? That's like hours of looking through the information to find that one picture or that shot that's very key into it.
Yeah, so, I've got it down to a science now. I pretty much know where this object's going to be, and I've got the timing pretty well down. I'm going to continue to work on it though. And anything that I get, any information that I come up with, I publicize it immediately once I have it confirmed. And you're absolutely welcome to share any of our information with your followers and with MFA. Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
And we'll definitely go from there, and we'll do another live stream probably sometime here in the very, very near future.
Sure. All right, guys. Happy New
Year.
Being
here tonight, folks.
Happy New Year, everybody. God bless. And
Happy New Year.
Everybody, say a prayer. I'm going to say a nice prayer when I get off of here before I go to bed. That 2018 will see more people come together and know the truth.
Yeah,
sounds good, brother.
Together we're unstoppable. Alone we kick stones. Together we move mountains.
Yeah,
you got it. We'll build them. You take care. Take care, everybody.
All right. God bless, Scott. Thanks.
God bless.
Thanks, Doc.